Welcome everybody back to Biel. It's time to start the 56th International Chess Festival here in Biel, Switzerland. Very, very exciting chess festival is ahead of us for almost the next 2 weeks, and your host for all of this time will be the charming Angelika Valkova, also known as Chessborn in the Twitch community, and I'm Grandmaster Actions.
Yeah, Arthur, it's great to be here again for the next year. Amazing chess, amazing format here in Biel, so many top players. And I think the most amazing is actually that all of them are going to play in the World Cup afterwards. So it's a great, great preparation.
Yeah, I think actually this marks the strongest GMT tournament that we have had so far, because we are going to show you in a moment very, very nice information prepared for you. Obviously, the Biel Chess Festival has a very rich tradition, so this is, like I already said, 56th edition. But, I mean, basically this year, for the first time, the average rating is about 2,700 ELO.
Unbelievable, yeah. And today we are having the first day, which is starting with actually not normal chess, but actually Chess 960 Fischer Random Chess. So, and this event is going to be a tiebreaker for the players. We're going to talk a little bit later. Yeah, Arthur, what are you expecting from today?
A very, very exciting bloodbath, so to speak, right? Because Chess 960, I think this is one of the most exciting tournaments, although technically it doesn't really count towards the Grandmaster Triathlon. So before we jump into the details and the games are about to start, perhaps let's check very quickly who is this year playing in the Grandmaster tournament.
Absolutely, and we have here the top seed with 2735 ELO rating, Yang Yi. He was playing actually last year in Masters tournament, and this year he's back for GMT. The second one is Le Quang Liam, the winner of the 2022 Grandmaster Triathlon. He played last year for the first time, and he scored a very, very nice victory in the rapid event and then overall. Then we have Arjun Erigaisi, the prodigy from India. He has been not such a great year at the beginning, but he has just recently won the Sharjah Masters, the strongest open event. And we have here from Romania, the former #1, Bogdan Daniel Deac, whose rating is almost 2,700. He has just shared the second place in Prague, but after the tie breaks, he let the Ray Robson have the victory in the Prague tournament.
And of course, then we have 4 more players. It's Vincent Keimer, the youngest player of the field, who has always been performing well here in Biel. Actually, he's the last year's winner of the Chess 960 tournament, coming from the German city of Mainz, which has amazing Chess 960 tradition. Vincent is coming for a 5th time, only being 18 years old in this tournament. So this is really, really amazing. So I think that definitely Vincent is going to be one of the favorites. Of course, I mean, Bassem, the leading African Grandmaster, the only Grandmaster in history of African chess to breach the 2,700 ELO. So he actually is coming back to Biel after 22 years, but I guess we are going to talk about it a bit later. Then we have David Navarra, the most experienced player of the field, 38 years old. David, of course, is known widely as the gentleman of chess, and he is here in Biel, and he's going to show some very uncompromising chess. And of course, the French champion, Jules Mossard, who is coming once again back to Biel, but first time in the GMT.
Incredible players. I mean, we are expecting a lot of fight. And, you know, like last year, actually, Vincent won the Chess 960, but he lost in the other events. I mean, he got less points, and he was number 8, if I remember correctly. So we never know what might happen in Chess 960.
Right. I do believe that the games are about to start, and let's maybe jump very quickly. Here you see the first move already has been played in the game of David Navarra against Yu Yanyi. And maybe before we start to analyze this position, I think it's quite important to talk a bit about what exactly is Chess 960, right? Because, I mean, probably dear viewers, some of you are watching this and you are like, what is this? So how come that the white queen is on here on h1, and how come the rook is on b8? But this is actually one of the greatest inventions of the former world champion, Robert James Fischer, who when he started to work on this, I think it was right after the 1992 unofficial. Okay, it was not the World Championship match, but the match against Spassky, right? He started to work on chess 960.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually many players or many experts in chess are saying that it's a future of chess. They're saying, okay, at the top level, there are so many draws, and chess 960 might be actually the way how we can continue this fighting and decisive games, because in chess 960, I mean, there is a theory, I guess, but this theory is basically just the principle of the opening. You see the position basically for 1 or 2 minutes before the game, and you have to realize how do you want to develop the pieces, how do you do it the most efficiently. Like it's just incredible.
Right. So before we jump in, actually, I already see some very interesting tactical skirmishes in the very first moves. But the name of chess 960, so as already said, this comes as an invention of Bobby Fischer. So there's theoretically 960 possible starting positions, and there are only 2 major rules which come in play, which differs from a classical chess, and the rules are as follows. So the king always has to be in the middle of the 2 rooks, right? So there's 1 rook, there's the 2nd rook, and the king has to be in the middle. So it cannot be in the corner or both rooks on the right or the left. And the second rule is that the bishops always have to be normal bishops, right? So you can't have 2 Dachswell bishops versus 2 Lascaux bishops, and that's it. And there we start to play chess like normally. Of course, castling is possible. Here, I think we are going to see some funny castles. So this would be king on e1 on g1, or king c1, rook d1. I think this is definitely going to be a topic.
Yeah, I think like castling, it's also interesting in online chess. I believe in one of the speed events, I think Hui Fan didn't know actually how to castle, and she just moved the king, and it was not castled, it was just a king move to g1. She had to touch also the rook, so she castles. So it's really difficult, it's something really special. And actually just before today's technical meeting of the players, David Navarra and Jules Moussart were so excited that they are going to play very soon this chess 960. They couldn't resist, and they actually played a couple of blitz games in chess 960. I was actually seeing the first one. David won that game, but second, I'm not so sure. But they were eager to play so much.
Yeah. Indeed, and you could see that David already spent quite a bit, some minutes trying to figure out. And if we now really start to go move by move, actually, you know, this is really rare to chess 960 because the very first move that White is making already comes with a threat. And this basically brings me some memories because last year there were some open qualifiers for the 2022 World Fischer Random Chess Championship, which most of you probably already know. It was held in Reykjavik, Iceland. The top 8 players were playing there, but there was quite a few online qualifiers, and I happened to play in one of them. And I think I got more or less similar starting position with the black's perspective. And with this move f4, I mean, White is immediately not only attacking the pawn on a7, but trapping the rook on b8. So I think I responded something else, and after bishop a7, I was down a rook, right? I mean, this happens only in chess 960, so there's a lot of room for curiosity. But what makes it really amazing is that Yu Yanyi responded with f5, right? So this would allow you play bishop a7, bishop a2 immediately.
Yeah, but there is a knight holding the a7 here
Oh
in this
my goodness,
position.
I did not see the knight.
Because the piece is just standing so randomly. You see immediately. I also saw bishop a7, yes.
I'll tell you honestly, I didn't see the knight. I didn't see the knight, right? Because
how does the knight move?
normally it's not supposed to stand there. I think I had a position where the bishop was standing here.
Yeah.
Right? Something very similar like this. Of course, I see the pawn is attacking here, and that's why I guess f4, f5 happened.
Yeah,
Quite funny, actually.
Yeah, very funny, because in normal chess you would never start with f4, f5.
Right. Yeah, that's why I was so curious why they're not taking those pawns. Anyway, bishop b3 goes out. Here, c6. I don't know what's actually the right approach in chess 960, Angelica, because I myself have very limited experience. I do know that the strongest players in the world, they have spent studying some structures, some typical plans, but I do believe most of the time they're like in the dark.
Yeah, absolutely. You just see the position for the first time for a couple of minutes before the game. You're trying already realize where you want to put the pieces. How do you want to develop them? How do you want to? Okay, so
I don't get it, right? I mean, chess.com board says bishop takes on d5 exclamation mark. Well, okay. I mean, it's
maybe
like technically the only physical move you have there,
exactly.
right? Otherwise, the queen on h1 is trapped. But okay, I mean, bishop d5 is played, and what do we have here?
95 and d3. So what is white trying to do is trying to restrict the knight squares, and black is trying to finish the development, I think, on the queen side, maybe to castle there.
Bishop
Bishop
b6.
b6.
I think that white was thinking about playing e4 at some point, so that's why he played, David played d3 so that he can play e4, take some space. Yeah,
And
the
he's
e4
going
now
for it.
happens.
Yeah, and such untypical position. You just try to realize what you want to play, which plan you want to fulfill, and your pieces are just standing randomly somewhere else. Like you have to find a way, how do you want to bring those pieces to the game? And I think something like knight a to b3 might follow, as well as played by Yuan Yi, knight a to b6 to bring the knight to the game.
Right, but I do believe actually right now they're still playing the opening phase, and while the players are starting out to play the opening phase, perhaps let's familiarize ourselves first with what is the Biel Chess Festival all about and what kind of tournaments are being played here, what you can expect in the coming days, and when you should be coming back to Twitch or YouTube, wherever you're watching this. There we go.
So we are having the Biel Chess Festival, which consists of many other tournaments, not only Grandmaster Triathlon. So we have here closed tournaments. So Grandmaster Triathlon, which we are watching right now, and Accentus Chess 960. There are as well Swiss championships are going to be held here in Biel. Swiss Rapid Fischer Random Championship, Swiss Blitz Championship, and Swiss Rapid Championship. There are as well other open tournaments. So in case you would like to come here and see how the grandmasters are playing, you can also not only spectate them playing, but also play yourself. For example, there is a master tournament, there is a main tournament, and amateur tournament. So these three tournaments are restricted by the rating. So in master tournaments are playing the strongest, then they're coming main tournament, and then amateur. There is also weeks tournament, extra made for the people who don't have so much time and would like just to come for 1 week here in Biel, enjoy some chess, and play this week tournament. As well, there are other rapid, blitz tournament, and there is Vinetum Youth tournament, and of course, there is a simul, actually, which was held yesterday by Jules Moussard. And here we are having the history of the Biel Chess Festival, of the Grandmaster Triathlon, and of the Master Tournament. We can see the winners. We can see some very, very impressive names. We can see that in 2010 it was won by Fabiano Caruana. It was won by Magnus Carlsen in 2011. Many times it was won by Maxim Vachilagraf, and then also Shakriya Mamidyarov. And we can see that last year winner is Lek Wang Liam, who is playing right now also in this year's edition.
Right, and there you go. There's the official schedule of our broadcast. So this is only the first day of a 2-week festival. You see that today we have the Chess 960 tournament, which is officially not a part of the Grandmaster Triathlon. Triathlon meaning 3 tournaments, but it will serve as a tiebreaker in case there will be an equal amount of points in the end of the Grandmaster tournament. And then tomorrow we are going to have the rapid tournament of the GMT. On Monday there's the rest day. On the next Sunday there's the rest day. So there you go. You can check the full schedule. Normally the game starts at 2 p.m. Central European Summer Time, or if you're from North America, sorry about that. I mean 5 a.m. Pacific Time. Still a possibility for you to watch it.
but only tomorrow there will be start time at 1 p.m., so be careful about that. So we're having the following format. Altogether, we have 28 games in 3 sets of round robin between our 8 grandmasters. We are going to have 7 games in classical, 7 games in rapid, and they're going to play 2 games with each color against each other, so 14 games in the Blitz. And as we were saying, the Accentus Chess 960 is an event which is happening before the other controls, and it's going to be a tiebreaker.
Right. There you go. And there's the scoring system, which probably is the most important part because everything is counted together. Your performance in the classical, rapid, and blitz, you see that classical definitely is the most awarding tournament, which awards 4 points for the victory. And this is the part, Angelica, which I really love.
Yeah.
1.5 points for a draw. This means you can definitely expect no short draws because it simply does not pay off, right? It makes sense to push your chances, fight for the victory. And there you go. You also see in the rapid, 2 points for the win. 1 point for the draw. Blitz is scored normally. It counts together, and in the end, out of these 35 games, the winner will emerge and win the prizes, which I'm about to show you, but here's the time control.
The time control for the classical event is actually the same as going to be at the World Cup. We have 120 minutes for the first 40 moves. Then players are going to get 60 minutes, so 1 hour for the next 20 moves, and they're going to have 15 minutes for the rest of the game. And there is additional 30 seconds per move, starting from move 61. So there is no 30 seconds addition till move 60. So if you're going to spend your 120 minutes till the move 39, let's say, and you're over, you lost on time. In the rapid, the time control is 15 minutes plus 5 seconds. There is an increment per each move, and blitz 3 minutes plus 2 seconds, very standard time control.
All right, and of course also it goes without saying that as usual the Chess 960 tournament has the same time control as the rapid. It's 15 plus 5. And there's the prize fund of the GMT tournament. It's a hopping 28,500 Swiss francs, which is even more in euros. The first place will walk away with 10,000 Swiss francs, and there are prizes for the first 6 finishers.
Exactly. So we can go back and see what is actually happening right now, because I think the players are approaching the middle game after trading quite some pieces.
Let's check something perhaps a bit more exciting. I think we left here. It looks quite peaceful for Chess 960, right? So 1 bishop pair was traded. Then after David's e4, e takes, d takes, knight e3. There you go. We have already some slight unbalance on the board. So this is where actually Union Yi decided to be slightly ambitious. I mean, why would you want to trade this knight on c1, which is not doing anything, and instead he kept the bishop on b6, and here after e5, Navarra is, I don't know, trying to claim some space advantage.
Yeah.
But let's jump to the next games, shall we?
Of course. Let's check what is happening.
Oh, there you go. Exclamation mark immediately.
Exactly. That's what we wanted. We wanted some exclamation marks. And this position looks pretty sharp there. Like everything is hanging, or not everything, but the pawns are ready to capture. Maybe we see how they got there. With which move did they start?
Right. Just a second. Let me try to find them on the camera.
Sure. So we're going to see here Le Quan Liam against Jules Moussard. So
I wanted to play g4, e5. It is e4, e5, but not the classical boring e4, e5 you would know. Knight d3, g6. Actually, this is something I can relate to, Angelica, because from my, again, limited experience of Chess 960, the first natural feeling I want to bring the queen in the game, right? Because if you start to develop pieces like f6, bishop f7 and something, the queen on h8 is just disconnected.
Yeah, what are you doing with the queen? And he wants to play g6 and maybe with following queen f6, yes, coming, bringing somewhere. And later they open the bishop from g7, from g8, something like f6 or even f5. Okay, so let's see.
Knight b3. I like this move. Yeah, just in case. Again, you see this trick, right? The knight on c1 is gone. You want
f5 is possible, yeah.
f5 is possible. Oh, knight b6 is a mistake. Look at that. I don't understand why this should be a mistake. Okay, this is simply an engine. Looks very human to me. So we have a king's gambit. No, not quite.
Maybe that's why it's kind of a mistake that you're stopping the development of your queen with this move. So
Yeah, but I'm not sure why. Okay, I'm not sure why knight b6 should be a mistake. Fine, let's just watch this. There was an intermezzo check, an actual pawn sacrifice. Wow, look at this. Look at this. I mean, I just love this sequence. I mean, look at this. So first you play the king's gambit. I mean, okay, it's not the king's gambit. You sacrifice the pawn, you attack the queen. Now, black gives you intermezzo check, which might feel like a blunder by white. G3 is a pawn sacrifice and short castle.
I mean, it just reminded me that during the opening ceremony, I asked Lech van Liam what was he doing all this year, and he said, yes, Biel Chess Festival is very important, so he was preparing the whole year for it. So we can see, maybe he was training some chess 960 before it.
Right. Actually, you know, it's quite interesting talking about these players who are playing here in the GMT this year and their previous experience, because some of them, they were playing in the qualifiers of the last World Championship cycle, and I pulled up some information. So it's quite curious that Vincent Keimer played in the, where was this? Let me check it. I think it was the quarterfinal match qualifier against David Namara. And they're once again meeting here, and I think that both Vincent and David, they're going to be among the favorites to win the Chess 960 tournament, and Vincent, of course, as the last year's winner, but also Lech van Liam. He was playing last year, but he got a bit unlucky because he met in the last 16 against Nodrbek Abdusatorov. And Abdusatorov, as you know, he qualified for the final top 8 in Reykjavik. He went into the I think it was to the semi-final. He crushed everybody in the group stage, but then he lost both matches and finished on 4th place. So a bit unfortunate for Lech van Liam, but I just love this, you know. I mean, sacrifice 2 pawns, short castle, great.
This is really creative chess. This is what we came here for in Biel Chess Festival. This is what we want to see. And after f6, e5, he's just keep on giving up pawns. He's just trying to. Okay, now finally he takes.
How many exclamation marks is it in a row? I mean, it's 1,
1, 2.
Black is making exclamation mark,
3.
exclamation mark, and that's a
Missed win. I think this means like missed opportunity or something. This sign means
something was missed.
Yes.
Yeah, something was missed. I mean, I guess we're not going to sit here for 1 hour and try to figure out what was it.
Exactly.
There you go. White once again makes exclamation mark, short castle. Yeah, I mean, this is really tricky, Angelika, because I also want to do this myself. I mean, you want to get to a normal position as quickly as possible. And the reason is that you want to recognize certain patterns, certain positions, and you just can't use this when you're playing an orthodox position. So it's completely normal, and most of the players, like 99% of players, they do it, that they try to get some normalcy on the board as quickly as possible so that they can apply this knowledge. But this is where the best players in the world, they excel. They start to improvise, they start to brainstorm right at the start, and this is what Lech van Liam is actually doing here.
Yeah, we have for sure not a normal position. I mean, we see like almost all the pawns from both sides of the queen side. I mean, all pawns of the queen side are in starting position. I mean, it would never happen in the real game, yeah, because normally we have to develop the bishop from c1 or c8. But here we have some really exciting position. I mean, it's very, very sharp. So bishop f3 putting pressure on the queen side already.
I think there's some immediate threats already, like knight b7, knight c5, and sacrifice on c6. So let me just show you. Okay, let's try to do some analysis here. So let's say black takes it. I'm not sure that really works. There could be some intermezzo moves, but let's just show you. Take it, knight c5, here, take it. Okay, maybe, I'm not sure black has to take on f1 or he does not. And the big idea is deliver a checkmate, either here or here.
Yeah.
Right? So this I can spot very quickly, and if I spotted that I'm usually saying if I spotted that in 20 seconds, I think they spotted that in 5 seconds, right? So I think that's why here also Jules is sitting, he definitely recognizes this threat that knight b7 might be a tactical idea, and yeah, he's trying to figure it out.
He's taking some time indeed to think, because this pressure on the diagonal is really big. So bishop c4 was played. So he's trying to pin the knight to the rook, so its knight cannot jump to c5. But I think we can try to make it work again. I mean,
I don't know. I mean, we could do that.
we could try,
We
yeah.
could do, but there's a lot of intermezzo moves.
Yeah, like bishop d3, for
Like
example.
bishop d3 could be done. Oh, somebody
Maybe
calculate this for me.
98.
Yeah, 98, and there we go. Bishop
And if bishop
f1,
takes, knight c6.
knight c6, and I could make another intermezzo move somewhere.
And there is intermezzo check on the 7 if they want. So it's like,
Take it and take it. And, oh my goodness. You know, and this is where they really show their quality, right? They showed that they're the best players because they can calculate these lines very quickly. And I think that actually this is what makes the difference, Angelika, between like normal grandmasters and 27 elo grandmasters who are playing here, because they calculate faster, they calculate more precise. Look at what like Wang Liam does before.
he says, I don't care, I want to improve position, I want to bring even more threats into it. And I think Jules is just looking at this h1, a8 diagonal, and he just doesn't know what to do. Like, what do you do against the b5 strat? I mean, if you play a6 and you're going to invite a4, b5, it's really like incredible.
Definitely, I think that both players are. I think they're feeling like passengers a bit, right? I mean, they're not really in charge of the position, but clearly Liam is feeling very comfortable because he knows he's attacking. I think he should suspect that his initiative is very strong, and also on top of the king's some vulnerability at the queen side for black. The queen here somehow is positioned on the same diagonal as the bishop, so you need to watch out for some captures on f6, or if you take on e5, some take on c6, knight e5. And the most difficult part for a chess professional, maybe not even chess professional, but every chess player, is that you don't essentially understand what is the difference between real threats and illusory threats, because all of them, they feel exactly the same, and that's why it's better to attack, always.
Especially in the limited amount of time. And let's see on the clock that Lek Wang Liam has almost 8 minutes, while Jules Moussard is struggling under 2 minutes. And yeah, if we look at the position of the king, actually, it looked like from the beginning when Lek Wang Liam castled short, it looked like the king is absolutely open. There are almost no pawns around it, but it's actually safe. And if we look at the king of black, it's actually very unsafe because of all the threats, but it's gathered by the pawns. So you cannot speak here about the pawns.
That's
which are
amazing,
kind of-
right?
yeah.
I mean, now that you say that the white king is supposedly weak, but it's much safer. The black king is sort of protected, but it's weaker.
Chess is incredible.
Just incredible. What can I say? But okay, let's move on, right? So
Yes.
this is definitely a game we want to keep an eye on. Let's move on to the game number 3, because 2 more games we haven't yet checked, and it's the Indian young superstar Arjun Erigaisi, who is the 3rd young Indian superstar coming back to Biel, because if you remember, if you're watching Biel in the past years, in 2021, Michal Sarin played back in 2021. Then in 2022, last year, it was Damraj Gukesh who made here his appearance before his sensational performance in the World Chess Olympiad. Now everybody already knows that Gukesh is a world superstar. And now it's time also for Arjun to make a return for the young Indian superstars here to Biel. And we're going to talk about Arjun a bit later, what might be his ambitions in this festival.
Yes, let's look at the position, because the time is running and the moves are being played so quickly. I mean, the position looks calmer, but king on c2, is it weak? Is it safe?
Let's very quickly
Yeah, let's
very
check.
quickly check what did I do. Okay, you see they
F4
love to
F5.
play 4 to 5. Yeah.
Okay.
Knight b3, bishop d5. I like that. I like this
yeah.
because it says your queen on h1 is not going to join the game anytime soon. Okay, look at that, d3, c4.
And you're also, and yours queen too.
But they're still trying, you know, to
Yeah.
get some symmetrical position. So sort of, I'm not sure. Are quite comfortable about this because they reach some normalcy, and they can carry out the typical ideas. So for white, the idea is, I think, pretty obvious. You want to use the open file. Just a second, I think I forgot to switch the camera. There
yes.
you go. You want to use the open G file to bother the black king, while, I mean, black has done nothing terribly wrong. He has a normal short castle. He has some pressure at the D file. So I think both players are quite happy. Okay,
Yeah,
let's move on to the
so-
fourth board.
Yes, let's go to the fourth board. The last one we haven't checked. We have Bogdan Daniel Diaz, who is facing the youngest participant from Germany, Vincent Keimer, who won the previous year Chess 960. So they have quite an open position here. The rook
right.
is ready to join to g2 in some scenarios, and king has not castle yet of white.
Well, I think that Bogdan is in trouble. Even with the naked eye, you can tell that very quickly, without any deep analysis. Because for black, he has a normal position. He has castle short, and also look at the clock. He's down to 9 seconds, so we might actually see the very first decisive result here. And the white king is weak. So the question is, can he castle short? Let me check it very quickly. There was a move made, and now Diak has to respond in several seconds. Queen of 3, so this will leave Vincent with already some material advantage. Let's check very quickly. So what happened here? Okay, this was some improvised game.
Yeah, some queen moves, queen e4, queen e5, queen e2. It was
Oh, look at that. I mean, Vincent is not bothering about his queen. He's keeping it on h8, not rushing.
But now it comes.
And now it comes into play. So white is a bit slow with his developed. Yes, I mean, this is definitely slow.
This is very slow, yeah.
If you have to play 8, oh my goodness, a3, knight a2, queen e2. So whatever happened here, I think that
Something went wrong.
something went terribly wrong for Diak. And Vincent is taking over the game. He has a normal position. So they already finished.
They already finished. We have
Finished,
a, we
it's
have
just
a result.
resignation.
Vincent has just won. We have the first result, and it's incredible. You know how fast the game can go wrong, and you are not in time to castle. Oh my God!
I think we are going to jump back to the board number 2, where was this crazy action between Wang Liem against Jules Massard.
Yes, Julie is very low on time right now. Just look at the clock.
Actually, the first question I would like to ask, what's the material balance on the board? Because if in my grandmaster's opinion, I think that white is up something, like a piece. So what
yeah.
happened? What happened?
Let's see what happened actually.
So there
So-
was, he took on e5.
B5 was
E5
played as expected.
He gave up a piece. He gave up a piece because his king is so weak. And you can't play knight a5 because there's a bishop.
He gave up a piece for the king's safety.
Yeah, now Wang Liem, in a popular language, as people normally saying, needs to mop up this because he played a brilliant game. I think so far this looks indeed the cleanest game.
This looks pretty clean, and if we count the pawns, I mean, even though we can say that by pawns, maybe Jules could try to do something, but okay, the position is just simply so much dominating, like white is dominating with all the active pieces. This looks really fantastic for white.
Right, and there's, by the way, also some questions from the chat, and I would like to remind you, dear viewers, that you can ask us questions if you have some very interesting questions or insights or, I don't know, something entertaining to say to us. You can do that.
Or not so interesting questions. We
No,
might.
just interesting questions. So please write them. We'll do our best at some point to answer them. I have the chat open. I see what you're saying there from time to time. So hello to everybody. Hope you're enjoying this so far. And right, okay. I think that here Liem is very close to win this game. I love this move. Queen h6 centralizes the queen. Knight
Yeah.
d5. I mean, white's pieces. I mean, as who was it who said it? As I think it was Anish Giri who said it. So white has the material advantage and the compensation for it. Right? So you have beautiful pieces. The knight on e6, the rook at f7, the queen on h6, the bishop on g4 is active. The bishop is about to go on e5. I think we are about to see a killing combination at some point. No, just bishop h3.
And just bishop h3, just putting a piece slightly back, keep an advantage. He anytime can take on h7 if he wants to, but otherwise he just improves the pieces. So it's
Right.
It
I think
looks-
queen h7 is the simplest. I mean, normally you try to not to be funny. Yeah, you just take obviously with a queen. I mean, why would you want to take with the rook? Because then the black queen would escape. I mean, you want to You want to get this position to a safe point as quickly as possible.
Yes.
So let's check maybe what else is here. And I'm pretty sure that Liam is going to win this game.
Let's go to the board.
Guys
Number
against Amin
3.
Bassan.
Okay, so we have here, okay, new moves because we
A lot of new moves.
moves. Oh, the queen got. Wait, the queen just was. We just looked at the position. It was on the king side, and now it's just on c7. How did that happen? Oh
I
my
must
god!
have teleported somehow.
Oh my god! Ask for g2. Okay.
That's how you do it. So
That's
you put
how
the
we
queen on
do.
g2.
And then you just wait, and then you bring it to this. This is incredible, actually. Yeah, the queen entered the position and try. Yep, like king on c2. It looks like it's very lonely, but you cannot do much about it. But king on g8, there is quite some pressure on the g file, and at some moment there might be h5 or some knight sacrifice. But okay, Bassam is trying to trade. Trade and h5.
I like this. I think that he was dreaming about a potential scenario here to keep the queens on the board so that he can try to trap it. But the clock is ticking. He didn't find a way how to trap the queen. And I think it goes without saying that white is definitely better here. We see that white has supposedly a worse pawn structure, right? We have double pawns here against black's healthier pawns. But the knight is on e5. There's some pressure at the g file. So Arjun is definitely pressing. But the question is it enough?
Yeah, I don't know if it's enough, but maybe there could be some opportunity after the trade to get to the h file, but because the g6 pawn just protected so much, like it's.
It's a good question. How do you make a progress? Maybe you need to provoke something. Maybe some knight g5.
Knight f7, maybe. It's
Knight f7, maybe knight g5, d4. I would be looking at this. No, rook h1, he goes after your idea.
Oh, rook h2, yeah.
Oh, rook h2.
And he actually has more than 2 minutes on the clock, while Bassam doesn't have enough time. He's trying to create something on d file, but while we have both rooks controlling second and first rank, there will be nothing there. And the knight is controlling d2, the most important square. So, okay, and he's going for it. He's going forward.
This is incredibly unpleasant because once again in time trouble for Amin that he needs to figure out which is a real threat, which is threat not real. Now you need to watch out for some sacrifice on h7. You need to watch out for potential penetration of the rook on the h file. You need to watch out for knight f7. You need to watch out for all kinds of things. And I think that Amin knows he's in trouble, right? He's just, trying to hold on to this.
He's trying to passively hold on because there is nothing else he can do in this position. He knows that g6 is protected, that h7 square is protected for now, that he can just wait patiently and pray that there is nothing going to happen for white on the g and h file. And again, it's not so easy for white also, like it's not easy to continue with this attack, but he has time, so he can try to find ideas. I think some move was played.
I think that Arjun was looking for a more direct continuation, like a kill. I mean, you're looking for this decisive blow. He did not find it. He decided, okay, I'm just going to keep things for pressure. Knight c6, of course, Bassam tries to clarify the situation, right? He doesn't like the situation that, the threats are hanging below his head and could fall like a sword at any given moment. He tries to kill this knight on e5 and just survive.
Yeah, so now the question is if white has to protect that knight, or they can jump knight e to f7 with some possible take on g6. But let's see. Oh, he takes.
I think he's about to sacrifice the exchange on h7. Is he? No. Knight takes on e5. What about g takes on h7? I think that already looks like a killing blow. I think that Arjun sees that.
G takes on h7?
Yes,
oh my
just take
God.
an h7 intermezzo move. And here, realize what's happening here. He knows g takes on h7 is very strong.
He's going back to g6 with a knight, trying to claim the extra piece for a moment, controlling the h8 square. But okay, he promotes, he has to give up the knight back.
Now white is just up a pawn and has an attack. This
the
should
pawn
be winning.
on e3 is also hanging. Yeah, so that's a problem,
That I did not see, actually. The pawn on e3.
And now, like, what?
Actually, this might change something because suddenly black has some counterplay. What do you do with rook d6 to d3, or check on e2 and rook on the second rank? So if white doesn't have anything immediately, what do you do?
I don't know. It looks really really annoying, this knight with just taking the pawn on e3. Maybe Arjun had to control the knight on e5 to keep it there, not allowing this. But amazing play by Bassem, like with find this knight g6.
I think that now Amin is definitely feeling very comfortable because he knows that the worst is behind him.
Yes.
And whatever happened, knight takes on h3. That is so strange. Why don't you take with the rook? Now Amin is taking over the game. I think that here Arjun is in trouble.
Rook
He's in trouble.
e1, trying to activate the rook.
King f6 is a very easy move. You could make it. Of course, you need to activate the king and make sure.
Maybe rook e8
King
afterwards, bring in
f7.
the rook. King f7. Okay, but now maybe.
Maybe it's still equal. Maybe
Yeah.
it's still equal. I really wanted to say that Arjun is in trouble, but still I don't see how black can make a progress. No.
And now rook e8.
No, rook e8, but then again, rook d7, rook h7, you need to watch out.
Oh, we have
already
very
have it.
fast moves here.
I like this. Put the king here, protect the queen side.
Yeah, because for black, the pawn structure is so much better. You just have to protect the only single pawn on b6, and then you're safe. For white, it's a very big problem because all the pawns are isolated. There is double pawns, there are a4, f4 isolated pawns, so it's very tough for Arjun actually to protect. But maybe he has this counterplay of the active rook and tries to make attack some pieces or pawns. But yeah, I mean, Bassem is trying to protect with the king.
It's very interesting, right? Because I had a feeling that suddenly the worst was behind for black, and now once again it is Arjun who is pressing because now there's no more pressure against the pawn on f4. But the players are in time trouble. They're below 20 seconds, so things change very quickly. But whatever happened with this combination of h takes on g6, g takes on h7, I think that Arjun simply miscalculated. I think he missed this rook takes on e3 because I also missed it. I thought that white is just up a pawn, and there you go. I mean, suddenly
Now,
black is okay.
knight f7, knight e5, some jumps with the knight. Or, I mean, what are you going to do here? Okay, I don't know if knight
No,
e5
Arjun
is.
once again is pressing. This is so much clearer.
Yeah, like this is.
Some rook h7 maybe, attack the
Rook
king.
h7. Yeah, rook h7.
Rook f7 is also a move. Rook
Yeah,
f7,
rook
okay,
f7
maybe
is
it's
going.
better.
Because you still hold some pressure on the f5 pawn.
And now rook f6, rook e6 looks very
Okay.
dangerous. How do you protect against this? Rook e6 right now.
He's repeated one time just to gain some time. That's a very common. He's repeating one more time.
No, he's
seeing,
definitely playing rook e6. There's no way he's not playing rook e6.
yes, rook e6, you have to play, you have to play, you have to continue attacking. The king is lonely there. The rook is on a1. You just have to keep pushing in this position.
Yes,
Rook e6, we have on the board. Okay, knight who should jump on c8. Okay, we have very fast moves because both players are very low on time.
Brilliant technique so far, but now,
Oh my
now
God.
this is going to be a race, Angelica, because
This
we
is
have
going
an
to
f-pawn
be a
against
huge-
a-pawn.
Rook f6, knight c4. What is this
Was
going?
this missed? Was this missed by Arjun? Because now suddenly it's Amin Bassem who is
Oh
up a
my
pawn.
God!
Knight c4, king d3.
And
once
he
again,
has
situation
connected
changes.
pawns.
Right.
In the rook endgame, connected pawns are normally the ones which matters the
But
most.
I don't think that white really is in danger with such a strong pawn.
Yeah.
Anything can still happen. Let's just watch
Maybe
this, right?
maybe rook f2, rook e2.
Right. So rook a1. The idea is to position the rook behind it. Also roll forward this pawn. Very exciting game. I think king c6.
Absolutely. This is a very exciting endgame, and you can see that players even had a draw at a moment, but today Arjun is saying, no, we're continuing. I mean, I think earlier also Bassem was very ambitious in that position, which came out of a very interesting sequence of the moves. We felt like it's a combination which is killing for Arjun, but it was actually saved by Bassem.
Yeah, but Amin is very experienced a grandmaster, and you just
Yeah.
can't easily break down him because he did nothing wrong. Everything was solidly protected. I think this is most likely a draw because king b5, king d5. Oh, I thought it's a checkmate. It's not
Oh
a
my
checkmate. C4 is king a5. Now this feels like a draw. Yeah,
Yeah.
C4 intermezzo check. I guess this will be a
King
draw.
c4. King c4, and this is a draw.
A4,
But,
A3, or rook A3.
I mean, whenever you say a draw, you just imagine, okay, some peaceful result and something
They
like
know,
this.
they know it's a draw. Yeah, there was a draw offer. It's a great.
Okay. So we have a draw on the board 3, and we have result on.
I'm trying to find if
draw.
somebody's still playing. No, that's it.
Okay, so
That's
let
it.
me
Everybody's
just-
finished.
So on the first board we have a draw. Navarra
second.
against Yuani, correct?
Yeah, I think we can.
I'm updating this.
Yeah, we can pull up these results in a moment.
Le Quan Liam won against Jules Moussard.
Right. So this was only round 1.
And we have draw Eric Gaisi against Amin Bassem. Very exciting draw. It was
Right.
not an easy draw. Okay.
Right. So once again, let's check. Let's check. This is currently the rankings, but first let's check the results of the first round of Chess 960. You see that David Navarra played a draw with Yu Yanyi. Unfortunately, we didn't see this game much. We started with it, but there was this very, very exciting game of Le Quang Liem, who demolished Jules Massard in a, dare I say, some sort of a King's Gambit in a Fischer random style. I don't know, very, very exciting game. And the game just finished. Arjun Erigaisi, I think it was Arjun pressing for most of the game. Now, at some point, I think Amin became ambitious. He started to, have some ideas. But in the end, it was a draw. And also, Daniel Bogdan Diak sort of, I think, self-destructed against Vincent Keimer. And Vincent, once again, starts one of his favorite tournaments, Chess 960, with a victory.
Yeah, we have Vincent starting with victory, who won previous year Chess 960, and we have also Le Quang Lian, the winner of the whole GMT tournament, who is starting with a victory. Yeah, but the draws which we saw, I mean, for sure the draw of Arjun against Bassem, it was not it was not a peaceful game at all. It was such a fight. You can see how players are trying to fight to grab this extra point, because they know this is important for the future. This is going to matter at the end of the tournament. If they're going to have the same amount of points, this will be a tiebreaker. So, yeah, we are going to have the second round pairings very, very soon. So we are going to have Yu Yang playing against Vincent Keimer, Bassem Amin against Diak, Jules Moussard against Arjun Erigaisi, and David Navarra against Le Quang Liem. Some amazing chess. We are waiting for now. We are going to wait till the players have a couple of minute break, and going to start with a round 2. So, yeah.
Right. I think that what we could do now is, I'm not really sure, do we have an official schedule when the next game is about to start?
That's actually I do not have here. I don't have this information. But I think it was like some break after round 4, a bit longer break after round 4, but...
Right. Let me check it very quickly, because I think that we can see. Yeah, the players are still sitting there. Nothing has happened. Are there now? Just a second. Let me check it. Oh, okay. I don't have a feed from there, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna update in a moment.
Yeah,
there you go. They're getting ready.
Yeah.
You can see in the camera. They're getting ready. So.
Yeah, the players are getting ready for the next round. They are getting familiar with the position. These extra moments now before the game are extremely important, because they're looking at the position which they see. Okay, I cannot say for the first time, but most likely if they played some classic, some Chess 960 event, it was a long time ago, and they are trying to regather the knowledge from the position they have right now, how they should improve, how they should develop their pieces. We are going.
Right. So let's check very quickly what's happening in round 2.
So we're going to...
Oh, sorry, my mistake.
Yeah, so we have to change round 2.
My mistake.
So we are having Yu Yang facing Vincent Keimer. We're going to have the Amin Bassem playing against Bogdan Daniel Diak. We have Jules Moussard against Arjun Erigaisi, and David Navarra against Le Quang Liem. We can see that the winner of the first round, Vincent Keimer and Le Quang Liem, are going to play against. So here we have the standings. Again, Vincent Keimer and Ekman Guillem won the first round, and they are ready to start the second one.
I think the round is about to start. Let me check who do we have for the first board.
We have Yu Yang with white pieces against Vincent Keimer. Don't be scared. This is just a starting position for a couple of moments. We're going to see the real standing position in a few moments. So we are not going to...
I think I might have to simply refresh, because sometimes this happens. There we go.
Yeah, so we have already this position. Wow, very interesting. We have knights in the corners. Knights are in the corners.
Okay, Angelika, what would you play? You know, I'm looking at this position. I'm trying to figure out what could be my moves, but what would be your thought process?
I would think about my bishops there on e1 and f1. Where do I want to put them, like in the game? So do I want to fianchetto somewhere on g2? But if I do it, for example, then the knight cannot get out. So it's a big problem. So I think that maybe actually 1e4 or 1d4 could be the first move.
What about g4? I would try to fight for the center as quickly as possible. I would be thinking about some sort of center fight. I mean, something like e4, d4, g4. Of course, you can play knight b3, you can play knight g3, and quite oddly, as one of our viewers in the chat mentioned, both of the knights there on the edge of the board. That's pretty unique, and yeah, I think something like d4 makes sense.
Yeah, and they're going for d4, d5, developing immediately the knight, which is standing there on a1. Originally not so good, but he's trying to improve, and at the same time actually fighting for the c5 square, not allowing, you know, in some positions in the real chess there would be some nice breaks with c5, but okay, here you might not want to do it. Yeah, so I guess the next moves will be like something like removing the knight to g3, like
I'm
to
not
bring
sure.
in.
I think that I'm a bit. I mean, are we really analyzing theory here? Because I was thinking that if you start with d4, I think that c4 made sense. You know, you bring the queen in the game, you fight for the center, so it's sort of like queen's gambit, especially since the queen is protecting the pawn on c4. But Yu Yang decided to play knight b3, and Vincent immediately uses this because he plays bishop b5. And what I really like, Angelika, is that he gets some sort of, what do you call it, queen's gambit declined. Okay, technically the pawn is not yet on c4, but you can play e6. So this structure with a pawn on b5, e6, f7, a bishop and f8 feels pretty normal. And the knight on b6 and the bishop on b5, they really greatly fight for the control of the c4 square. I like this.
You actually have to be very careful with e6 because there could be something like queen g5 jump, like queen comes to g5, bishop e7, queen h5. But there actually could be a short castle. I mean, it's so interesting. Like, it's incredible. You know, short castle and you protect h7 pawn.
Right. That is definitely an opportunity, like e6, bishop e7, bishop d6, and short castle. Yeah, you could do that. You could do that. Wow.
Okay.
But I think that one thing that definitely both players, at least at a competitive level, that they are looking for is have some sort of a flexibility, because I do believe in some opening principles, especially in chess 9-6, that I think it might help, is that you want the pawns to pave the way for your pieces, right?
Exactly.
And if you get a static position in the beginning, like your pawns are not moving, it's just your pieces, it's difficult for you to make a progress. And that's why I love this move bishop b5, right? Because Vincent first takes care of White's unused opportunity to play c4, and yeah, I guess he would be thinking about playing c5 himself. Okay.
Actually, I was talking about queen g5, but I didn't think that he would play it so fast.
He did.
He did, and now he's not able to push the e pawn, and his idea might be to bring queen on h5, trying to attack the h7 pawn maybe at some moment.
Maybe this is the threat.
Actually, this is the threat.
Actual threat is to long castle. You know.
Yeah, it's just short castle. Why not? Okay, so d5 pawn is under attack. You cannot protect it with the e6 pawn. How do you protect it? Queen d7? Queen d7 and long castle? Is that the plan?
B6.
Knight b6, yes.
Knight b6, I think,
looks logical.
Very logical. And Vincent looked at some other options for a moment. He said, okay, listen, my knight is most likely jumping to b6 anyway. So he did it. Maybe e4? Can I play e4 here?
E4 actually, yeah. Trying to use the fact that bishop is undefended, but then bishop f1, rook f1, or knight f1. I mean, this is so interesting. Bishop b4, is it a move? Bishop b4?
Maybe Yu Yanyi is looking at some, more inspired options like something like f4, f5, bother the knight on g6 because you don't really have a lot of great squares. Maybe h4, h5 is an opportunity. Of course, I think he sees e4,
Yeah.
but he's looking for some other options first.
Maybe bishop b4 with some ideas. Bishop c5 could be also possible, also trying to put pressure on e7 square. And then h4, h5. And he goes for the pawn on h7.
Queen h5.
Okay.
Look at this. I think this is actually very interesting because if black plays rook h8, you can't castle short.
Yeah.
So
This
queen
is
h7 traps the queen.
So basically, Vincent is saying, okay, thank you very much. Now I can play e6 and develop my bishop and then short castle. Wait, if he develops the bishop, then queen h7 is possible. Because then g7 squares. And now e4.
I don't
This is so
understand.
sharp.
Yeah, I don't understand, Angelica, why this was necessary. I have a feeling that, okay, maybe I'm wrong. I have a feeling that Yu Yanyi had the best intentions, right? He played queen h5, he tried to disrupt his opponent's possibility to castle the short way. And then apparently Vincent plays e6, he realized, okay, I cannot take the pawn on h5. And now he plays e4 anyway, allowing black to play e6, which was not possible before. I think this was slightly missed by the Chinese grandmaster.
Or we don't see something which he saw, so we're going to see where the game goes, and and maybe there was something else. So e4, very very nice move. Yeah, but the question is why not to play my move earlier?
I don't know.
And also bishop b4 could have been a good preparation for this, because then bishop, there would be idea to take the bishop on the fate, and then the pawn would hang actually.
Well, I think
don't
the
know.
opportunities here all but limitless.
Yes, there are so many moves,
All
so
but
many crazy
limitless.
moves.
All right. We missed some moves. e4, bishop f1, rook f1, queen d7. This was played.
Okay.
But let's jump into the next game. By the way, Chess.com board says so far White is playing with 99.2 accuracy, so queen g5, queen h5, according to Chess.com standards. In chess 960, this is perfectly normal. For me, this looks a bit strange. And black is playing 96.7 accuracy, so 100 is the highest mark you can get. But let's jump to the next game.
Yeah, and it's of course not saying a lot because it's just the opening stage, just a few moves have been played, so let's keep on spectating the other games. So we have here the Bassem Amin against Bogdan Daniel Diak, and we have actually completely different approach to the position. We have some kind of a stone wall here at the position, f5, e6, d5. I mean, maybe they started also with d4, d5 actually, but black decided to go for a stone wall.
Yeah, this is indeed a stone wall. So stone wall is a very famous pawn structure from the Dutch defense, classical Dutch, which back in the day was heavily popularized by Michael Botvinnik. He used to play it, and actually Botvinnik's games, they were my inspiration in my childhood, so I happened to play quite a bit of the Dutch stone wall myself. I mean, this is not a classical stone wall, but speaking about why this is done, why black is doing this. So once again, why black is playing e6 and f5. So the so-called Botvinnik structure, which also is very famous from his English opening setup, pawns c4, d3, e4, g3, bishop g2. The idea here is try to squeeze white, right? Because the pawns on d5 and f5, they make it really difficult for white to fight for the center, right? To play e4. This, of course, comes with a major flaw, and that is the weakening of the e5 square, which is, of course, a big topic in many modern openings. The top of the list which comes to my mind is the Chelyabinsk or the Sveshnikov variation, where black willingly weakens the d5 square, but he says, hey, listen, I have a lot of dynamics.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, the approach which the opponent, the Bassam is choosing to bring the bishop to f4 is the most direct against this. So immediately trying to get control over this diagonal, this dark square diagonal. Also looking a little bit at the rook there on b8 and control the e5 square. So even though the bishop was standing on e1, he managed, okay, I'm going to put bishop d4 and bishop f4, and kind of their opponent, the both opponents are getting to this more familiar position. I mean, you look like more and more moves, and we almost see the normal stuff here.
What I see, Angelika, is that Diak is going a very similar approach as Vincent Keimer, because also Vincent in his game also played bishop b5, which makes sense, except here Diak included f5 to make sure there's no e4. So it's very interesting, right? So we have a lot of high-class players here, but they have different opinions, right, on certain positions, how it should be played out. Or sometimes it's like a 50-50 choice. Either I do this, either I do that. So you see that Yu Yanyi, Vincent Keimer against Yu Yanyi allowed White to play e4, and here Diak says, okay, I'm not going to allow e4. So this is the position right now. I think that it's about balanced because Black has achieved to stop any breaks. There's no e4. There's no c4. f3, e4, probably Black is going to notice that this is coming. But then again, we look from the Black's perspective, where's your pawn breaks?
Yes,
really sure.
as you said, the stone wall structure is coming with this sacrifice of basically blocking the center, make it as a stone really, but it means that you also cannot do much there in the center. But you could try to do something on the side. So for example, as an idea could be some pawn breaks, h6, g5, or on the other side, b65, but it should be very carefully done. That's why White is stopping everything with h4 there on the king side. For now, no c5 is possible because of the rook hanging. So, yeah, we're going to see what Diak is going to do here. Both player.
I love Diak's position, to be honest, because a knight c4, it makes White feel rather uncomfortable with the queen on c1. Because I'm not sure what if Min did something wrong, but suddenly you start to experience some claustrophobia, right, with the queen, because it's going nowhere. I mean, you want to play something like c3, then the bishop on d3 is somehow indirectly attacked. Maybe knight takes on b2 check, the bishop is hanging. If you take on c4, maybe they could be captured the pawn. The black queen is positioned on the same file as the white king. So think about ideas at some point, something like c5, e5. You can't castle here, you can't castle there. So I think that Diak is looking simply better here.
Yeah, I mean, it's normally actually Black who struggles from the space disadvantage, but in this position we have Black actually pushing and really trying to squeeze White there, not allowing to move with the queen. I mean, we will see. I think something like knight d2 might be an idea, just to try to trade that knight. Potentially a4 or b3 could be the moves, and yeah, we're going to see how they continue. Maybe we check the next game while they're playing pretty slow. Okay, already some changes, exchanges happened in the position against Jules Moussad against Arjun Erigaisi. Already no queens?
No queens. They're gone.
Queens are gone.
So
who needs queens anyway?
Okay, look at this again, a different approach, right? So here Vincent played bishop b5, or in a very similar position. Here Black plays differently. Arjun plays f6 with the idea to be slightly ambitious. Play e5, play bishop g6, a different approach. e4.
Yeah. And we know that Diak played f5, so we had f5, we had f6, we had bishop b5. So absolutely, it's a room for creativity for the players. Chess 960, they can basically choose whatever plan it comes to mind, and it cannot be wrong. You know, that's the point, because if they have an idea, it cannot be already wrong.
Right. So, wow, queen f5 exclamation mark. Fine.
Maybe because it was the only way.
Oh, knight f6.
Okay.
And White just won a pawn. Wait, was this a blunder? Let me check this. I'm a bit surprised because knight e5, queen 3. There was no need for black to do this. So did the Argent miss this actually? He played
What is
queen.
the threat?
I mean, there's no threat. I mean, you can even play e6, protect the knight. Maybe he was, you know, afraid of some knight c5. Or maybe he thought that his position is dangerous after knight c5. You know, the king is stuck here. So
Yeah.
yeah, this is really amazing, Angelica, because I know I've made this mistake sometimes before. You look at the position, you have a feeling that this strong grandmaster committed this very strange blunder. He missed the pawn. And then you start to look at the position more closely, you realize it was actually a blunder on purpose, right? I mean, black is blundering the pawn on purpose to get out of the uncomfortable position. And here he gets the 2 bishops.
Yeah.
Maybe this was done on purpose, actually.
This was a sacrifice, the pawn sacrifice for 2 bishops, because as we can see, there are only 2 pawns in the center, so d4 pawn and e7. And after activating the bishop, maybe even somewhere on g7, I mean, I don't know where he wants to go with the dark squared bishop. Aha. Okay, so bishop b4, trying to not allow bishop to get developed, and in case it's getting developed, then trade it.
Well, I'm impressed. Either way, I think that Jules is definitely better here with white. There's no argument about it, right? He has a pawn, he has no weaknesses. Black has a word pawn structure. But I'm impressed by the sequence, if that even is correct. You know, maybe it's not correct. I'm impressed that if this was not a blunder, that he gave it up willingly. Maybe it's very important to mention here that knight x on g8 looks very tempting. But the problem here, Angelica, is
Knight cannot get out of there.
probably cannot get out, right?
There is bishop c4.
There's no bishop c4.
Oh, sorry. I said bishop.
It's gone. It's gone.
You know, because I saw there is a bishop, and for me, probably the starting position switched on, and I saw bishop as on f1.
Right.
Oh my god.
So this
Yeah.
was a small combination. I assume it was done on purpose by Arjun. And
Yeah.
now it is simply enjoying an extra pawn. Obviously, c5 is a big threat. So Jules is trying to figure out where to put the king. I think king e2, I would probably blitz it out.
So you don't want to castle.
I'm a bit...
You don't want to castle
I
long,
think he has already
actually?
made a move, but I don't have it on the board. For
Maybe
some
long
reason.
castle. Just bring the rook to d1.
Oh, long castle. But we don't have the move here.
Okay, then we just maybe wait.
Yeah, of course, long castle makes perfect sense, right? So, yeah. That makes perfect sense. Yeah, I completely forgot. This is chess 960.
Yeah. You see the king on d1, you think that the king already moved, right?
Yeah, so I think we are going to make this mistake many times. No. Wait,
No.
let me refresh. No, there was no knight f5.
No, knight f5. Yeah, it was not possible. Ah, it's already not. Okay, he went actually for a long castle. Oh, so many moves already played.
So many moves, yeah, so there was some problem with the relay. So traded. He's doing everything he's supposed to do. He has an extra pawn, he's trying to simplify, but the question is it enough? But let's jump forward, right?
Let's jump forward and look what is happening, because the position is pretty dry, just an extra pawn. Like, theoretically, he can have some chances. And we have the fourth game, David Navarro against Lek Van Liam. Lek Van Liam has just won a pretty brilliant game, like with so many sharp ideas.
I think it's some sort of a Karakan, where...
With bishop not on f5, but on b5.
Yeah, yeah, you got me there, right? So white has sacrificed the pawn. So David Navarro here is playing very inspired chess. If I may, once again, let's go back and see how did this happen. So again, d4, d5, 4 out of 4. Knight b3, knight g6, f4. Okay. Bishop b5, g4. Really interesting. I mean, I was saying this right before the start of the round that you could play f4, g4. I feel David is my soulmate, basically. Okay. h4, look at that. Very aggressive. But, you know, on a serious note, that's essentially what makes these players great. And David is highly accomplished chess grandmaster. His highest elo was over 2750, back in the day. And thanks to the development of modern chess engines, the understanding of chess openings especially has come to the moment that you want to aggressively push forward the pawns. Usually at one of the sides, is it usually the king side, is it the queen side? And I've seen it happen many times, Angelica, is that, especially in chess 960, they sometimes very aggressively push forward those pawns because they're paving the way for their army. And that's why this f4, g4, h4, David is getting space advantage for his pieces so that he can make better decisions later where to position them.
Exactly, and even if Black is spending more time for development of the light pieces, David is just taking more space, and later he will develop everything he wants. He doesn't have to do it right away. And here comes e4.
Wow.
Okay, so Black should have taken on e4. He missed the e.
That is amazing. I mean, look at this once again.
That is amazing chess.
That is amazing chess indeed. So I think that you cannot really take on e4 for reasons unknown. I'm guessing some c4. I don't know. I mean, there's the bishop a4. I don't know. But the point is that David sacrificed a pawn. He played e4, e5. Obviously, this bishop cannot leave. There's going to be d takes on e6. This bishop here on h4 is attacking the knight, so Black had to take it, bishop b5. This was simply a sacrifice. It's really amazing that David on the equal spot just sacrificed a pawn, queen g5, h6, and he is dominating all the dark squares at the king side.
Yeah, and actually the bishop on b5 is just standing and looking into emptiness, and it's like another pawn right in this position, because you would love to have dark squared bishop to cover the squares on the king side, and you don't have it. You don't have it because you trade it for a pawn, but yeah, the pawn would not cost the position,
Maybe we should mention here why nothing else. Why did Black give up the pawn, right? G takes, just drops the rook.
Yeah.
You see,
because
you can't take it.
Pin.
It's a pin. The big question, of course, is why Black didn't play g6. I think that he was thinking that the pawn on h6 is going to be more dangerous. Maybe queen h6. Can I show this? I'm not sure if this is accurate. Let's say that I protect the pawn.
King
How do
e8.
I protect it? I really wanted to make this work. I wanted to make this work. Take on e7 and promote the pawn, but I don't think this is the case here.
But, Black has to be careful because one move before, so instead of king e8, if you short castle, it's just a checkmate on g7.
Right.
So if you short castle.
So short castle, that would be like helpmate. Yeah, you.
Oh, wait, it's not possible.
Oh, why? I'm not sure why. I mean, it should be legal.
Yeah, it should be legal. No.
Should be legal. Okay, whatever.
Okay, whatever. Yes, let's see the updated moves. So knight c4, knight g3, and c5. So Black is trying to make this bishop alive, to make it do something. Maybe at some moment bishop could protect the light pawns on the king side, but the position really looks so great for white. So much space. Yeah, c5 is trying just to open up the position on the queen's king side.
I think that what Liam is trying to do here, he recognizes he's in trouble. I think he recognized that about here. Especially when your opponent plays something like e4, bishop f1, e5. This is when you appreciate the power of the move. It's like, oh, yeah, you played really a great idea. I think at this level, they definitely recognize it. They're never going to say that, but they're definitely recognizing it.
For sure.
So he knows he's in trouble, meaning he's up a pawn, but white has a beautiful control of the dark squares, really inspired game by David Navarra. And that's why here, what Wang Liam is doing, he is very experienced. He knows that the time is of the essence. He has to do some quick counterplay as quickly as he can. So that's why he plays knight b6, knight c4, c5. He's trying to break the game. He's trying to break the pattern of the game as quickly as he can. Otherwise, he might be overrun.
Because he has white has static advantage in this position. And if you have something like this, you have to do something very dynamically, very fast to make the position sharper, to make it more unclear. And that's what he's trying to do.
Look at this maneuver, Angelica. I mean, knight g3, knight h5. That's the winning march of the knight, which is about to be unstoppable to make it an f6, kill this rook, just x rook for white. So, like Wang Liam's time is running out. I mean, knight f6 is a huge threat, and how do you stop it?
Why didn't he play knight f6 instead of taking on d4? Because it's not.
No, I think there's knight e3
Ah,
check.
knight is 3, yes, of course,
There's some,
yeah.
some issues. Black is also having some counterplay.
Yeah.
The queen on g5 is still protecting the e3 square.
For sure.
You can't do that. And I think I saw long castle played
Long
by Liam.
castle. So it means knight f6 is coming, and there is going to be an exchange.
There's going to be something.
Sacrifice or loss of an exchange.
How come that already the second game, which involves like Wang Liam, is one of the most exciting games of the round?
This is incredible, and
All right, let me refresh. I
let's
think we
refresh.
have
some moves.
some more
Oh my God,
moves.
what is happening?
Knight e4, long castle. Yeah, by the way, the knight on e7 is under attack.
Oh my God, it was under attack. We completely forget. And now, what about the long castle? Or it's not? Bishop f2 also is possible.
I think long castle is just an extra piece. So if I castle long,
Not
Oh.
like this, just.
Oh,
Yeah,
how did I
that's how that's how Horify played, and Shiva couldn't castle.
okay, so technically I have to touch the rook, right?
Yes,
The castle.
exactly.
So long castle, and now if this knight doesn't fall, white is up a piece. The only question is if black has some sort of super counterplay here or try to capture the queen. But I don't see.
Knight d3.
Knight e3, but I can even
knight
give away
e3,
the
yeah.
rook.
Yeah, because
Now this looks dead lost. I see nothing. I mean, maybe knight b2 check,
bird comes
check,
in.
but always knight b2. No, this is lights out. So David here is just double checking, I think. Can he castle long? He tries to figure out if this is playable.
Did he castle? He's not. Didn't
He's
play.
thinking.
Yeah, he's thinking.
He's thinking. Maybe he is. Maybe his thought process is that he can defend the knight differently, or
Bishop
he has
f2?
forgot he can castle.
Bishop f2 is possible.
Oh, by the way, yeah, bishop f2 also is good.
That's why I don't know what is better, long castle or bishop f2. Okay, c3 you don't want to play.
Right, right.
Okay, let's maybe check what is happening in the first on the first board. So we could refresh there because we left on the from very early position.
Yeah, let's do that. So Vincent
Okay.
Kammer playing with black. Yeah, what is it?
Okay, what is this position?
White is definitely pressing.
Yeah, g7 pawn is.
So Vincent
Good.
here is.
They had
out
such a
late.
peaceful position before.
It
Well,
was
what
not so peaceful
happened?
before. Just a second. I mean,
When we left, it was peaceful.
when we left it, it was about here.
Yes.
I think. Oh, and Vincent did commit himself to h6, e6, queen d7, knight c5. So it got really hostile. So Vincent sacrificed the pawn.
God.
White took it. Apparently, he had something better. Let's not dwell on that too much. Yeah, so the position normalized, and a beautiful move g4 by Yu Yanyi, fixing the knight. The problem for black is the pawn on g7. I mean, it's eternal weakness.
Yeah, and once he played h6, he basically committed to that g7 and h6 together, they will be weak. So the pawn, if the pawn g7 would move, would have an opportunity to move, the h6 would hang. That's why he's trying to play h5 and to break that pawn chain on the king side.
Right.
Is it possible to take the pawn on g7? I mean,
I think that's what Yu Yanyi is trying to figure out right now. I mean, he's looking at the pawn on g7. Actually, it's not really going anywhere because one of the reasons why Yu Yanyi played here rook e1, so that black can play f6. You know, protect his pawn on g7 from the bishop because now the knight on e6 is under attack. So he not only acted at the rook but made sure that black can play f6. So Vincent is ready to give away the pawn. He plays b6 and he says, I mean, go for it, take it. And that's why Yu Yi is not rushing. He's thinking, why is my opponent giving up the pawn just like that? I mean, he must be having some sort of a trick.
Yeah, I think there could be something coming to some exchange of the pieces and maybe some simplification, and maybe the pawns of white on the king side might be weaker. It reminds me slightly the game of the other board, which we had, like Jules Moussat against Arjun Erigaisi, when Arjun like blundered, or we don't know if on purpose blundered the pawn, and they had such similar positions: 3 against 3 on the queen side, and 2 against 3 on the, or 3 against 2 on the king side. But there, I think we had knights. I think there we had knights. We had different.
Right.
Maybe we can check actually now.
Yeah, let's check it.
Yeah.
Let's make an overview what's happening in other games.
Okay,
So
this is
this
the
is-
Bassem Amin against Bogdan Deak.
Right.
Yeah, we had here some squeezing, right? I remember we had knight on c4.
Wait, am I saying correctly? There's a check.
It's our first position already?
If this is the correct position, let me refresh. You know, maybe I'm looking at the wrong position. Yeah, I'm looking at the
okay,
wrong position.
okay.
Yeah, sometimes this happens with the chess 960 positions.
Yeah, because they're a little bit crazy.
All right. So, at least visually, I like white. I don't know what happened before. I don't think we have time anymore to go
Yeah.
back and see what happened before. Visually, I like white because this pawn on h7 makes an easy target. Black has no, dare I say, super obvious counterplay. I guess he wants to do something at the queen side. Rook h1, rook h7, g6, rook h8 is a threat. So this means that Diak needs to organize something very, very fast at the queen side. So I'm looking at some bishop b4, queen a4, you know, try to get to these pawns here and try to be annoying.
Yeah, it's quite interesting how the position can change. Earlier we saw that actually black was pressing, trying to get more and more space, and here we are at the position where actually white has some counterplay on the h file. Okay, queen a4 was played, saying it's a great move. I think king b1 is almost the only
It
move.
makes sense. Yeah, it definitely makes sense. King b1, I think you're right, Angelica, should be most likely played. Yes.
King b1 is played, yeah.
Rook takes on f4, so was this a blunder? Oh my goodness. He blundered this. Look at the
No.
body language of
Oh my
Amin Bassem. He was
God.
like, what did I just do? That's a
Oh my
heartbreak.
God.
So queen f4, what Amin Bassem missed is queen c2. So he actually blundered this, so we have our very first
My
obvious blunder.
God.
So super grandmasters, once again, it's confirmed they're human beings.
Okay, what happens if some b3?
Yeah, I guess you have to, but b3 is queen c6, you can just resign. That's it, he knows, yeah.
Oh no.
Rook h1, okay, he tries to go for some counterplay, but I mean, essentially he's just down a
Oh
piece.
my God. And
I
this-
don't know what he should have done actually, because queen a4 was a devious trap. It came with rook f4, but I mean, dear viewers, this is so standard because I mean, he's just a human being, and when your opponent plays queen a4, you're looking at the direct threat.
Yeah.
It's queen a2, right? But there's another threat which he missed.
Oh my God, this is just incredible.
Wow.
This is just something. Yeah, I mean,
I think we might see a resignation in a moment here. Of course, you should fight it out until the end, but
For sure,
I mean,
yeah.
rook h7, I think there's already rook h4. So it changes nothing. b3, queen c6, I think Diak can respond very quickly. That's it. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't see this game continuing for long. Rook h7, and now the question is rook h4 winning on the spot?
rook h4 and.
Oh wait,
yeah.
rook h4 is rook g7. You need to
You have to be
calculate this.
careful, yes.
You need to calculate this. Once again, so Diak is making sure this works. Takes, queen g5, rook h4, or queen h4, there's no mate. Yeah, I guess black cannot play that. So rook h4 is perhaps too much.
Yeah, but there is some other rook move, like
There's an extra piece. So
There
you
is rook-
basically don't need that.
there is rook f2. No, not possible.
Rook f2 is queen f2, no?
Oh, sorry. I saw that we have a checkmate. No.
So he already made a move. Rook
Rook
f5.
f5. Yeah, it's very solid.
I like that.
Yeah.
Right. I think that it follows the strategies that in funny positions, in dominating positions, you don't do funny chess.
Yeah.
You have an
Exactly.
extra piece. You've got everything under control. You play king f7, the next move, bishop f6. You back everything. I think.
Just be solid. You don't need any extra, some crazy moves to show that you can do great, like some fascinating tactics, which is all hanging with one move. But okay, bishop f6 now. So everything is solid. It's just an extra piece.
Let's check maybe more
Yeah.
games because I'm pretty sure that we are going to miss the resignation moment. But I mean, I think this game is already decided. Nothing's going to happen anymore.
Oh.
We have a game
They
here.
traded the rooks. I think we left around the position when there were rooks on the board. So now we have knight endgame with extra pawn for white.
Still extra pawn. I mean, it was
Still
right after the
extra
opening.
pawn.
Pawn is
it,
a pawn?
so it was maybe not correctly calculated by Arjun. Maybe he thought he will have more counterplay for the pawn. But as we see right now, okay, king of black is for sure active. But, I mean, the pawn is a pawn in the endgame, especially in the knight endgame.
Yeah, but I think that Arjun is also doing some very good defense here. He has centralized the king. The pawn is on g5. And I have a feeling that it's not enough for white. I mean, it's a pawn. It's great. White has no weaknesses. But it feels like white's progress is still very far away. I mean, you need to play king e3, f4, take, king f3, attach the knight, push the pawn. It's a very, very long way. So Arjun is leading good defense, and while Jules is doing everything he can, sometimes having an extra pawn is just not enough.
Yeah, sometimes it's not enough, but okay, he's trying with ch4 move, very interesting. I'm curious what he wants to play after gh. Does he want to play 4 or just take?
GH, king f4 is 95 check, so
Ah,
I
okay,
think black
so
cannot
he
do
can-
that.
G. Okay, so he takes. Okay.
Okay, very quickly, I'm going to glance at board number 4.
I think we have results.
Yeah, so David has won the game.
Yeah. Okay.
So we are obviously following this game, and very quickly let me glance. Amin Bassem has resigned, and Yu Yanyi is still pushing against Vincent Gamer. Okay.
So Deak won, yes. So Deak won
Deak won.
against
Yeah,
yes.
so that was a major blunder by Amin Bassem. It looked like he had a good position, really. I mean, I liked his position, but all it took was just one blunder, and that's it.
Okay.
All right.
So we have 2 games ongoing.
2 more games are ongoing. A6 is played against knight b5 threat.
And actually, we're pretty similar, you know, because there is an extra pawn on king side in this position. There is an extra pawn in the other game. So it's, yeah.
I think that the white desperately needs to activate the king. So the knight on c3 is pinned to protect the pawn. If you play a3, you push away the knight, but you create another weakness on b3. So you need to activate the king. But as soon as the king goes on e3, there's a check. And then the knight goes back. And then the king f4 threat is somewhere. How do you make a progress?
Yeah, that's a good question actually. Cannot king get activated from g? But okay, if g3, then if through g3, then there will be at the moment h5 probably, right? Just blocking the king coming out. So
You mean here? Yeah,
yes.
then h5 is a move, absolutely. So king e2, Jules just plays the move and you know tries to see whatever his opponent is going to do.
So knight before looks like a move because other right knight is jumping. Wait, he's checking
Yeah,
first.
sometimes it just reminds me how the game of chess is played like tennis. I mean, because not always you need to score a winner, right? You need to score this very decisive shot at the edge of the playing field. All you need to do is sometimes return the ball.
Exactly.
You just return the ball.
What about knight d5? What about f4? Is it like something like this possible? Like f4 with idea knight
King d4.
knight d5 b5?
I don't think that
What is going on?
Jules is winning this. Is he now? Knight g3, so he found a way to activate the pawn. Knight g7, is it? Or knight g7 is very passive.
f4, f5 is coming. And now king cannot go to e4.
Yeah, but there's b5 as well. Okay, this is getting really exciting now.
This is getting incredible. So it goes basically both ways. Just recall the previous game of Arjun when he was trying to push, and there was like this pawn race in the rook endgame. finished peacefully, but such an incredible fight. Both are very low in time. King E2.
I love this maneuver. Look at that. So instead of
my
pushing the
God.
pawn, he's going to put the king on c to protect his pawn. And what he actually does, he excludes the black king from the game. But is it really working? Because black also might play b5, takes, c4, c3, and push it forward. I'm
Oh
not
my
so
God,
sure.
I'm not so. It's not so possible to calculate, but players are just going for it. So again, we're going to see two races of the pawns.
You know,
So we will-
Angelica, I would love to go back here. You know, this king b2, king d2. I really was looking for this b5. Was it
Yeah.
working? b5, takes, a4, takes, c4, knight e2, knight e4. Okay, I can't calculate that very quickly. This pawn
Yes.
is very strong. This pawn is very strong. So let's just jump back to the game.
Let's just jump back and see what is this. What? Wait, the pawn is almost a queen.
c4, c3, c2. Oh, wait, there's still knight e2, knight c3, so this pawn is not promoting anywhere.
But it's a check.
It's, no, it's not a check. That's why king d2 is played. So b2 is, oh, what is happening here? f7?
Oh my God.
y7. Ah, that's why, because after knight e2, there was knight e2 intermezzo check protecting the c3
God.
square, and then you queen. So maybe
So you
Jules
have-
missed this.
So
So
it looks like it's a draw
Arjun
now.
is pressing. Arjun is pressing here. This is pretty obvious.
But I
so-
think it should be a draw, right?
I
No?
don't know. I mean, this pawn is incredibly strong. Knight e6, knight c3. I think
C5?
Arjun is just going to win this. I mean, being down a pawn in the knight endgame, unbelievable.
C5. C5, knight e4.
Knight e4, knight d5. I mean, this pawn is going
Not,
nowhere. This
not
pawn
knight
is very
c4,
strong.
knight e4.
Knight e4.
The check. Oh my God.
No, Arjun's just winning this.
Knight c4.
What a turnaround.
Oh my God. I mean, I wanted to say actually at the second game that it was not possible for white to lose, but it seems like
it's always possible to lose. I mean, never say never. I mean, now black goes after this pawn, I think. But is this a win for black now? I mean, king f5, king g6, so white is trying to activate the king. You can't go very far because this knight might be pushed away by the black knight and this pawn is about to promote. I think that in a practical game, black is normally winning this.
But in
There you go. I think if the knight gets here to b4, c5, that's it. Black wins. So how do you get the knight here? Either you get the knight here or you take the pawn. That's it. Black wins. Yeah.
yeah, but
Wow. What a heartbreaker for Jules. Because, I mean, he must be kicking himself for this
oh
missed
my
opportunity.
God. This is just so unexpected, absolutely, like out of nowhere. Arjun created this counterplay, coming with the king, leaving the center, being down a pawn and going for the queen side, and creating himself a passer. I mean, this is just something. Okay.
Right. Yeah,
okay,
this is
Julie
now-
is just trying something, but of course,
This is just like acceptance. You need to accept what just happened here. So you see that, of course, Jules perfectly knows he's dead lost, but he's going to make a couple of moves. He smiles. That's at least good to see that he's not heartbroken, but of course he is incredibly unhappy that he lost his game.
he
Can
lost.
we go back to the Winston Kammer game? No, because they already finished. Yuyini won his game with white. But there I go back once again to this position. I mean, it came down to this endgame, right? I mean, white is up a pawn. So, I mean, as you said, normally white is not supposed to lose this. But if you push your luck, he was pushing his luck. I mean, he definitely had to do it, right? He pushed h5, he pushed knight g3, f4. But maybe here, he
F5. Just go forward.
f5, but it's not going anywhere. f5, f6, the knight is still staying here on f7.
Yeah,
and
but
the
it's
king is-
already like pawn is already maybe improved, and then just trying to go with the king to f4 and knight jumps to
Maybe.
e5. I don't know.
Maybe, but this is what he should have done. But I like this idea, actually, what he did. He tried to bring the king closer, sort of nullify black's king, so
Yeah.
that it's not playing. So black played b5, takes, f5. If this is a mistake, it looks very human. I think that from afar, what Jules missed, he only anticipated c4 takes and takes.
And he
obviously.
didn't anticipate b4 and then c4.
Yeah, so now this is incredibly strong threat, and now suddenly black takes over the game. So this is how it happened. And now, unfortunately for him, for Jules, he couldn't play knight e2. with the idea that B1 queen is knight c3, and white actually wins. There's knight e4. And now it is black who wins because there's no more check here on c3. So this is how it happened. Wow.
Absolutely incredible, like how it came from the absolutely peaceful position, such an exciting end game, and while white was having an extra pawn, actually black, because of the activity of the pieces, managed to win the game. And let's see at the results of the round 2. We have Yu Yan Yi, who won against Vincent Keimer. We have Bogdan Daniel Dad, who actually managed to trick Bassem Amin into this very nice combination, and he won the game. We have Arjun Erigaisi, who won with black pieces in the very exciting endgame against Jules Mussart. And we have the David Navarra, who won against Lek Van Gliam in such an exciting game. We've seen that against the Lek Van Gliam were exciting both in the first and in the second round, but in second round the luck turned against him. And here we have the standings for now. So we have 3 players leading the tournament. We have Arjun Erigaisi, David Navarra, and Yuan Yi with 1.5 points, played 1 draw and 1-1 game. So yeah, I mean, we also have actually the 3 players with 1 point, Bogdan Daniel Deak, Vincent Keimer, and Lek Van Gliam. We have Bassem Amin with 0.5 point, and Jules Mussart, who unfortunately has 0 points. He had an opportunity now, maybe even try to play for a win, but shouldn't have lost that endgame. But in chess and chess 960, and especially with the rapid time control, anything can happen. So that's why it was like that. So
2 rounds out of 7 already have been played. I think that the start of the Chess 960 tournament hasn't disappointed us, right? I mean, we definitely expected that it's going to be very, very excited, but we saw in this round already the first blunders, like Amin Bassem blundering this piece basically in one move, and we caught it on live stream that clearly the Egyptian Grandmaster missed this. And also we saw this quite crazy endgame of Jules Mussart playing against Arjun Erigaisi, where he was pushing for most of the game. But I mean, the Indian player was putting up such a good resistance that I think that at some point Jules simply overestimated his chances, and he pushed too much his luck. Maybe what we could do is we could check the pairings for round number 3. Just a second.
Okay.
Let me bring it up.
So we're going to have Lek Van Gliam playing against Yu Yang Yi. Then we will have Arjun Erigaisi against David Navarra, Bogdan Daniel Deak against Jules Mussart, Vincent Keimer against Bassem Amin, and those are our pairings. So we have Yu Yan Yi, Arjun Erigaisi, and David Navarra leaders. So I don't know if you would like to start with the first board, or we should actually maybe start with the board Arjun Erigaisi against David Navarra, because this is the board of the 2 leaders
right,
of the
so
tournament.
there you go. There's the rankings, right? You see that 2 leaders are about to play against each other. I think you're right. So let me just try to find them.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Just a second. Let me try to find them. That's us.
That's us. That's not that's
That's
Navarra. And
One moment. Erigaisi, Navarra. I think it's here. Board number
2.
2. There you go.
Yeah, we have the players preparing for the position. We see that Arjun Erigaisi actually looking somewhere else, trying to meditate before the round. Maybe he's already familiar with the position which he has there.
I've seen this position before, so let me just refresh.
Yeah, this position we have seen. Okay, we have this.
There you go.
This position. And David Navarra is actually very carefully looking at the pieces. We can see he's looking around, he thinks who should he play, what should he expect from white to play, what will Arjun play. So it's really very interesting. Players are not losing this precious moment before the start of the round.
Of course, I mean, they don't know obviously all of the possible 960 positions. I think at this level, they, as already we discussed it at the start of the broadcast, they have definitely studied some positions, some patterns, but every position basically is fresh, because it's like I would show you the starting position of the classical position, right? Do you really have one opening? Right, you have like million openings in this position. So imagine every single chess 960 position. Do you think there's just one opening? I mean, there's like unlimitless possibilities. So that's why these players here, they're not going anywhere. They're not taking their cup of coffee or something. So you see, they're sitting at the board. They're trying to figure out what I'm gonna do, what my opponent most likely is going to do against me.
Exactly, what is very, very important to anticipate what your opponent is going to play, to be familiar with their plan, with your plan, how you could try to stop your opponent of fulfilling his plan. So, Arturs, what is your first move here?
Just a second, let me try to figure this out. I would think about something like c4, fight for the center, bring the queen in the game, bring the bishop in the game. Alternatively, okay, f4 looks not good because it does open this bishop but weakens the king. Theoretically, maybe d4. d4, c4, c4, d4. If I'm looking at c4, I think that I would try to understand what's going to be my opponent's response. So let's say c4, e5. Am I happy with this position? So maybe I'm thinking a bit further. After d4 takes, rook d4. Okay, let me just put it on the board. c4, e5, d4 here. Do I play a gambit? Do I take with the rook? The rook is like under attack for some tempi. I try to figure it out. So I think that will be my thought process here.
Yeah, for sure. And actually just... Oh, we have again the starting position for some reason. I just wanted to say we should refresh now. We have a starting position again for some reason. I don't know.
For some reason, okay. They like
Maybe they decided, okay, no chess 960 for this round. Actually, I just realized that we have already in all the rounds, or at least two, the knights on the on the edge of the board, like knight a1 and knight a8.
There was, by the way, a question in the chat, Angelica. Has the chess 960 only purpose of tiebreak, or there's some other things like the pairings? The pairings they already did before the tournament. Angelica was the one who was calling everybody to the stage, and they were introduced to the audience here in Biel, and they had to select a number. Like there were these special crafted chess pieces by an artist. They got to keep them. I'm a bit jealous, to be honest. And yeah, this is how they selected. And if my memory is not totally hazy, then I think in Rapid it was colors reversed. Or was it in Rapid the same, and in the classical it was colors reversed? This I don't remember by memory.
I just remember that one of the... Are there like finished rankings of the chess 960 are starting rankings for the Rapid?
No, I don't think so. But okay, we are going to check that. No, I think it mainly serves as the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Okay, the first move is c4. I guessed it.
And also, they're going to get some small prizes, I think, for the chess 960. I think there is some because it's also sponsored and organized by Accentus,
Right.
so it's. Okay, c4 as you said, right?
Yeah, c4 makes sense. You bring the
perfect
bishop in the
sense.
game, you bring the queen in the game,
Then you bring the knight in the game.
bring the knight in the game, so all of this makes perfect sense. I also would have done it.
Exactly.
Let me very quickly check what the others did, very quickly.
Yes, let's see.
No, here like Wang Liam has different ideas. He played d4.
1d4.
Diak has even more different ideas. He plays e4, f3, which you're normally not supposed to play in the normal chess because it weakens the king, but he has some different ideas. Wait.
What? It's okay.
But it doesn't look better. I mean, it still does weaken the king.
Yes, exactly. I mean, it's very interesting approach, like very creative. And
Let
last
me refresh
board.
this one. And this is just e4.
Okay.
So, I mean, it still hasn't yet figured out what to do against e4.
So we have e4, d4, c4, and f3, apparently.
Yeah, I like I already said, I mean, these players have different approaches. It's like in classical chess, some people like Sicilian, some people like Khan, some people are very fond of some more unorthodox openings.
Yes,
Bishop e4 is brought in the game.
exactly. So we have some very interesting move which normally you would not see in the real chess. Bishop coming to the center, to the e4 square. Normally you have the pawns on the central squares, not the light pieces. But yeah, here we have the bishop. Okay, so David is taking time, try to understand how to rearrange the pieces.
Yeah, I think there's definitely more than one choices here. He could play d5 immediately. Like, try to sacrifice a pawn. d5, c takes, bishop d5. You see the pawn on c5 is under attack. No, he decides to play knight b6, which, by the way, attacks the pawn on c4. And d5 is definitely in the cards.
Yeah, I was just looking at some d4.
Here, for white. I mean, this is where things can get really crazy. Because, once again, black is not obliged to take on d4. This is not checkers.
But
So
maybe d5 is.
yeah, exactly. I was looking at this. You can take on c4. You can take on d4. You can play d5. For example, after d5, c takes, c4, knight c5. What on earth is this? You know, I don't understand it. But
Oh my god.
it's fun.
Yeah,
Knight
it
e5,
looks-
queen c4,
And knight
knight
e3.
e3. Come on.
Yeah.
Let's not look at this.
Let's not look. Let's see what professionals do. Okay, knight e3, trying to keep it cool, take control over the d5 square for potential d5 breaks from black. Yeah.
Okay.
Potentially, white could play something like knight a5, attacking the b7 pawn. Like, but there will be always a d5.
Oh, wow. That's a nice idea. And suddenly it's very difficult to protect this pawn, right?
Yeah.
So d5 is
The
maybe
only.
this was his idea. He played bishop e4 with the idea to play knight a5.
Yeah, maybe.
But for some reason he didn't do it immediately.
Probably
after-
d5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's d5. Take it and let's say bishop d5 and there's no more attack on the pawn on b7. This pawn is defended. You spent 2 moves to put the knight on the edge of the board. So that's why he didn't do it.
Yeah, that's quite
Wow.
impressive. What? Ooh.
So, wait a second. Is this not actually a new world record for the fastest double exclamation mark move in the chess 960 history? I mean,
Force,
maybe, dear viewers, you know it, but I don't recall. I mean, move 4, it's double exclamation mark. It's already a sacrifice. Okay, there was this very famous game where Magnus Carlsen played against Hikaru Nakamura. And there was this rook sacrifice early on, which might have also been a double exclamation mark. You know, I'm just impressed.
But I think he saw it because it looks, in a way, typical. If we had this position like pawn on c4, bishop on e4, and knight on e3, and if we compare it like pawn on e4, bishop on c4, and knight on c3, I think he just recognizes from the previous position, and that it's actually possible, the idea to take that pawn and then to push d5. I mean, it's incredible. It's not the first thing you're looking at, and here we have.
I did not even notice this, to be honest, but that's what makes David Navarro as really an elite grandmaster. He sees these things faster. He recognizes this pattern, as you already, Angelica, said. So knight c4, the entire point, of course, is d5, right? So d5 is not really exclamation mark because knight c4 is the great idea. You sacrifice a piece. And the entire point, perhaps, I think maybe, dear viewers, you're looking at this, you're wondering, okay, I mean, it looks cool, right? But why do this?
Let's see.
But why do this? The entire point is to destroy white's center. That's why you're doing this. That's why you're playing knight c4, d5, because it's not only a pretty move, but it's also destroying white's center. And now after bishop d3, you know, Angelica, I think that you're thinking the same that I am right now. About what's the next move you're thinking about here?
b5?
Yes, exactly. Why? Because there's this opening. There's this opening we're thinking about where this comes from. In case you can follow this, dear viewers, e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, in the 4 knights. e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, knight c3, knight f6, bishop c4 is known inaccuracy because of knight e4. And then sometimes black plays this d5, knight e4, d5, bishop d3, f5. So anyway, in case you didn't follow, I apologize because I didn't have an extra spare board to show it to you, but it looks very familiar, you know. And I think that probably David is amused because he's looking at this and he's thinking, I know I shouldn't. I know I shouldn't, but I could.
Oh
You
my
know,
God.
I could play b5. You know, we are artists here. I mean, I could definitely play this for the content, right? And I know David, he loves chess too much. He enjoys chess 960 definitely here, so he's thinking about b5.
Oh no, he took the knight.
Oh no, yeah? Oh no for the creativity.
Oh no. But okay, probably it's, I mean, maybe objectively speaking, it's the best move, but yeah, b5 was like, in a way, going for that pattern which we were just discussing.
I think he
And
was
four
just
knights.
just getting excited. You know, he looked at b5, he got really excited. Okay, this looks fun. Because if I may, I'm going to show very quickly. The entire idea is to threaten obviously to take on c4, and if the white knight goes somewhere here, you still make a fork. But it just complicates the game too much. There's some sort of a bishop f5. You need to calculate. You need to calculate. And in the end, even if you win back the piece, you need to make a proper assessment. Okay, I made this fancy move b5, but what did I get? Right? So that's why David was looking at this position.
Yeah.
He gets some fun. Okay, nice. Okay, but I'm going to be pragmatic player and take on c4.
Yeah, because also he's trading his bishop from g8. He's one step closer to probably hiding the king to finish the development. Just the knight has to be developed. And white is actually having some troubles with the bishop on g1. There is a pawn move has to be made, the bishop has to go out, and almost all the pawns besides the c pawn are in the starting position for white.
Right.
Is it good? Is it a bad thing? I mean, I'm not so sure that it's something you're aiming for. You want to take some space to grab the space advantage, and yeah, I mean, this is for sure like incredible creativity which we see on the board by David Novara.
Oh, right. So after b6, I think that if I was black, I would be looking at the next move e5, because let's say, let me make for white something like d3, e5. If I get this, I think I'm very happy, because this directly resembles Angelica, the Marazzi bind. And Marazzi bind pawn structure is quite famous because it gives the side who is putting it up very nice opportunities to fight for space advantage, because the soul and the essence of the Marazzi bind is to not to give you any pawn breaks. Right, not to give you any d4, and maybe not to give you an f4, and then try to squeeze you. But of course, it's urgent to play. So after black's b6, he recognizes, listen, I think that David is definitely thinking about the next move e5. What should I do about it?
Exactly, and we have, for example, some breaks like d4, which are possible, trying to create something, because indeed, if white is going to be passive and allow this e5 move, e5, knight e6, and black is just going to have a perfect position. So d5, putting some pressure, so attacking the pawn on c5, black has to commit to something in this position.
Yeah, but you know, Arjun again is looking at this. Of course, he sees d4, and he's trying to figure out, okay, what happens next? Because, of course, you assume that the obvious choice for black is going to be c takes on d4. Black can also make some other moves. There could be something like queen g4, right? Pinning the queen, attacking the pawn on g2. You want to assess it properly. But even if this works, let's say you decide, okay, queen g4 is not a big deal. And you decide that d4 is going to happen. Black is going to take it. You're most likely trade the queens.
Or
here.
rook d4 is also possible, but yeah.
Yeah, but okay, are you really happy here about this position? I mean...
But maybe I want to take with rook on d4 here.
Yeah, but I don't think that it's so great for white. It's about just symmetrical. Black has no obvious weaknesses. Okay, maybe there's a Catalan weakness on c6 for the knight, but black plays e5. So this knight on b3 is silly. So that's why Arjun is thinking here. I mean, he sees, of course, d4, but what does it give it to him? And that's why maybe now he has second thoughts. Okay, perhaps initially he has from the white's perspective, he thought that allowing Marazzi bind is not a great idea. But then again, he looks at this and he's thinking, this imprisons the bishop on b8. It makes the bishop bad.
Yep.
Maybe I can, organize some sort of a play at the light squares. So what about something like h4? H4, e5, h5, g4, f3, d3, something like this. Can I do this?
Yeah, and he is actually going for the idea. He is just going for h4.
He played h4. Okay, I mean, I just try to imagine how Arjun might be thinking.
Yeah.
You know, I think he had exactly the same mindset as I had here, right? He discarded the e4. And now his idea after e5, he wants to maybe play rook h3 or h5 or g4 and use those light squares.
Yeah, absolutely. He's trying to create the something in exchange for allowing black entering this Maroczy structure. And we don't see e5. We see queen e6. David is saying, I want to bring my knight very badly. I don't want to play this e5, so I want to continue to finish the development and try to claim some advantage, some space advantage here.
But actually it makes sense because once again, if you go back to the core essence of the Maroczy bind, what's the core essence of the Maroczy bind? Take away chances for your opponent to make successful breaks. So if he can do it without pushing the pawn to e5, why do you need e5, right? Because after queen e6, knight e6, white gonna play d4 anyway. And the bishop here is very active. This is smart.
This is very smart. And at some moment, something like bishop e5 could be a move attacking the b2 square. Like, so maybe we don't need that to move that pawn at all, because in normal chess you would need to move it either e or g pawn to get out the bishop.
But why? The bishop is on f8.
But this bishop is on b8 in this position. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's why queen e6 was a great idea by Navarra, and Arjun is not going to do that. He played d3, which now begs the question, is he not having some problems with the pawn on b2?
Yeah, actually, good question.
Can I take
What if we just take?
And bishop e5. Can I do this?
I guess the only move which is protecting the pawn is rook b1.
That's such an ugly move, but maybe white has simply no choice. I mean, definitely David has no issues here. Knight e6, he's the one who's pushing.
Exactly, his... yeah, knight is going to come on f4 potentially.
Okay, there's e3, maybe white is keeping the balance, but...
But the question is, why did he want to allow it?
You know, I think I'm a big fan of what Arjun did here. I like h4 because this was I was explaining this idea, and as soon as I explained it, Arjun played it. Perhaps it was a bit too early. Maybe that was the problem. So perhaps what Arjun should have done is to start with d3. So he fixes this position. If black plays queen e6, now he gets more options. You don't have to play h4. And if black plays e5, now you play h4.
Yeah.
But, I mean, come on. Right? This is difficult to understand, of course.
Wait a second. I have actually one question. What happens after original position queen e6, d3, takes on c4? Can white castle here? Sorry, bishop e5 was played. Bishop e5?
What bishop e5?
Bishop e5 here. We
You
were
can't
looking.
castle.
I'm just.
Can you castle over the check?
Let's try.
I don't think so. No.
If you put on the rook, king on the rook. If you put the king on the rook.
No, but the rook already moved, no? No,
It didn't move. That's why I have just tried to put the king to the rook.
I mean, so you're wondering if that is theoretically possible. I think it's practically not a good idea because you can just take on b1
yes, okay.
and win the pawn, or maybe just take on b2. But asking the question, is this a legal move?
Let's ask chess.com. Just move to the king, to the rook. And if you move king to the rook.
No,
no.
it doesn't
Okay,
work.
no.
No, but
okay.
it shouldn't work. It shouldn't work because it crosses the d file. It's under attack. Right? You
Just
can't
was
do that.
curious, like maybe it's.
Okay.
Okay, so
Let's move on.
Actually it happened, but rook d1, king d1, and h5.
He fixes that a potential weakness. Knight g6 might be a thing, but I think this looks quite equalish.
Yes.
Quite equalish.
Okay, let's move to the
Le Quang Liem?
Le Quang Liem against Yu Yang-yi.
I think again it requires a refresh.
we are,
most likely.
Yeah, it's not. Looks like they are having move number 6 right now. So, okay, what they're having really move number 6 right now.
Looking at the live board, yeah. Board
Actually,
six,
yes.
move
Okay,
six.
so they are just at the beginning of the game. So Let's see what happened. D4, D5, knight G3. Interesting.
Okay, that's interesting because Diak was playing E4, F3 to
Yeah.
bring the dark bishop in the game. Like Wang Liem is playing D4, C3 to bring the bishop in the game.
So he probably most likely wants to.
Wow.
Wow.
A first mistake on the fourth move.
It doesn't look like a mistake, you know, but if chess.com says so.
What about H4? I don't follow. Intermezzo
Knight
move.
F5.
I found a helpmate. Okay, this is
Oh
probably
my
not going
God.
to happen. But wait, on a serious note, why this is bad?
Knight is.
Is it really G6? Because this position, maybe even this is good. No, this is not
No,
good.
this is not good because
This
knight
is
is
not good.
getting out. So G6 maybe.
Maybe knight G6. And this
And
knight is-
rook H8, rook H7. No.
Really? So this is what black should have done? You know, we're not using any engine here, by the way.
Yes, exactly.
I'm just wondering why Chess.com engine is screaming that E4 is a missed opportunity for black. Bishop H7, I guess it must be H4. H4, here, G6, knight G7, welcome to Fisher Random Chess. What can I say?
Oh my God! I mean, this is something what you're not looking
Like take
into.
and here, and okay, it can get even more crazy.
I mean, this shows how unexplored, you know, chess 960 is. You know, if players would had some like theory, like knowledge, like that's why we don't have in real chess this like mistakes or like inaccuracy and so early on, because players simply know that it's like this. But in this way, you have 960 positions, which it's not possible to learn each of it. And here we have some kind of a Caro-Kann.
Again, yeah, if black indeed is going to play E6, it looks like a Caro-Kann position, but I don't think that
Yeah.
black is going to do this because this would lock the queen. So most likely black will keep the pawn on E7 for the moment.
Yeah.
White enjoys some space advantage for the moment because of these pawns. But then again, there might be something like H4 or H3. So this begs the question, what happens after H4?
Yes, already in new position. What happens?
Yeah, H4 is on the board, by the way.
H4 is on the board.
So,
yes,
do you
looks
play
very
knight F5?
logical. I am not so sure because after. Oh,
I'm not sure what is this.
what is?
No, white is worse. Wait, is he? Yeah, he's worse. White is worse. I think so. Yeah, the queen on G7 is doing. Actually, it's trapped. Yeah.
The queen is trapped, so we could not castle. But okay.
So knight F5, knight G2, queen G2, queen F5, queen G7. Yeah, this is dangerous, especially long castle is there. So I would assume that knight F5 is not good, unless of course white can sacrifice his pawn.
Maybe king
Oh.
F1.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
King F1. Now H3 plus likely.
And now knight
knight
G7.
G7. Yeah.
King F8.
Even. Yeah.
What do you make of this position? You know,
This is just crazy. Yeah.
no, it's very easy. I think we could just say it's complicated. Yeah.
It's complicated for sure. It's not clear what is knight on G2 doing. Like it's looking very pretty there, but it's not attacking very much, very many squares. And which king is actually in bigger trouble? I think actually in that position, king of black is should get ready for some queen coming to G5, for example.
I mean, knight
Okay.
F5 feels very tempting, but of course, white can also play knight F1. Let's jump forward to the next games because this is only game number 2. We have not yet seen 2 more games.
Okay, and
Daniel
here we
Bogdandiak
have
with black against.
against
white.
Jules Moussard. Maybe we update. I don't know if it's
Yeah, let's
up
do
to
it.
date. Just to make sure that.
Just to make sure it was a mistake,
yes.
yeah? It is a
Just
mistake.
to make sure
Confirm.
that. Okay, so confirmed mistake on the board. We have players also most likely don't know why it is a mistake because everything looks very, very unusual. Queen on A3 is interesting.
Okay, let's
Queen
not
on A3.
review, but try to understand what happened here. So it's a material balance on the board.
Yeah.
Knight on D4 is beautiful, and the first thing, Angelica, which I'm seeing here is some sort of a bishop A4.
Yeah.
So, which brings the question, can I capture the queen? Takes, takes, Checkmate.
b5.
You can't do it. Because the queen protects it. So what else? Why this should be a mistake?
Yeah, mistake normally is like if it would be blunder or something, then it
No,
would
then
be
it will
meant
be
for-
like a heavy mistake. Yeah.
Yes, yes. But this is just a slight mistake.
just a slight mistake. So maybe something was missed. No, but usually
Maybe,
missed is a different mark. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe bishop d4 is indeed a move, and then rook b1.
I was like, that's what it makes it really amazing, right? Because I mean, imagine us. So we commentators, we are given some very big information. This move is a mistake, you know. And now
And
we're sitting and trying to understand why this move is a mistake, and we can't understand why this is a mistake.
Yeah.
And the players they're playing, nobody is telling them this is a mistake, right? For them, rook c8 looks completely normal.
Exactly.
So that's major information.
I would think maybe bishop d4 and rook b1 with the idea of bishop a4, because there is no way to protect from the check on a4. Because I think queen has to move, and then bishop a4.
And if I play a6, you play rook b6, yeah?
Yeah. And bishop a4 is unstoppable. I mean, you don't have to lose the queen, but
Sure, is it so unstoppable?
check.
Check here. Or yeah, king d8 actually would be a very nice helpmate. Yeah, king d8 is a mate on the board.
Yeah. But king f7 actually, yeah.
And there's some other checks, by the way, threatening. And I check here. And this move is bishop a7, somewhere incoming.
So it's
No,
very unclear.
Yeah, I don't see what's wrong, but maybe there's nothing wrong. Maybe, you know, it's a system glitch, whatever. So it's either way, it's a very, very sharp position here. What would we play with white? I would probably try to castle. So if there's no direct threats against my opponent, I would be thinking, how do I castle? So can I play something like takes, takes, and castle? Can I do this?
I mean, you can.
And then I'm
course
going to
you
think
can.
about bishop a4 at some point later. So I have a protected pass pawn. My knight on a1 is silly. The bishop can always be activated somewhere. Knight c2 and knight b3. But then again, it opens this rook. It opens the darks with bishop. And I don't know if I want to do that, right?
What if you don't want to take first on d4 and play rook b1 here in this position?
So you really want to make bishop a4 work?
Trying, trying.
Okay.
So because if you take on c2 my bishop, I would be really happy, I think. Like, I will activate my knight.
Now, this I think what every chess coach would probably tell to their students is this is something you never, never do.
Yes.
Because this knight on d4 is really strong knight. It's centralized here, and the bishop on c2, it's
a
how many
silly
pawns
piece,
are on
yeah.
its color. Yeah. So you don't want to do that.
Because now, for example, if rook b1 and a6, then we might think of taking on d4 and castling. Because before is not even a move. a6 pawn would be hanging.
Takes, takes, and castles. And I play bishop d6. Actually, I like black. Why would you like white? Because I have
Queen.
good control of the dark squares. The knight on b3 is silly. The bishop at a4 is doing nothing. The knight on b3 has no future. No, actually, I like black.
But the bishop on j8 also is a little bit...
It's a sad bishop.
It's
yes.
a little bit sad. Yeah,
it's a
I don't
mono.
know. We will see what
Yeah.
the players
All right.
have to say here. Maybe we look the last game we didn't check.
Yeah, I think there was one more move already made by white. We didn't get it yet. What was it? I don't know. But let's check one more game.
Okay. So we have Vincent Keimer with white pieces versus Bassem Amin with black. We have also similar, actually, pawn structure in a way. But yeah, the bishop is on g8 pretty close. So
This sort of reminds this pawn sacrifice of Liam
yes,
against Liam. Who was it? David Navarra.
Yes,
Against
yes.
Liam in the previous round. So there was it a pawn sacrifice? Just a second.
yeah, it
So
was.
some caro, queen g4, knight d6, and just like that he won a pawn. Look at this, how easy it's done. Queen g4, knight e6, and you take a pawn.
And you just win a pawn. So it was no sacrifice, but rather the only option.
I am not really sure. But you know, it's amazing how chess moves forward, because the importance of the pawn is getting, I mean, less and less important, especially middle games. Especially these players, the current generation of the best players in the world, they don't really care about those pawns so much. All they care is their piece activity, all they care is initiative. But if you would ask me, Angelique, immediately, where exactly lies White's compensation for the pawn, I would just say I have no idea, really.
Yeah, because the black pieces are pretty normal, like queen and knight are very active. There is no, I mean, like, you have just to look out for bishop e3, but the problem is that there is a check on g2, so White cannot do it.
Right.
I mean, this is just...
Yeah, this is a good point, actually. Maybe we should show it, right? So bishop e3 looks really nice. Yeah, spinning it, but takes, check, and two extra pawns for black. So a big no-no.
Yeah, exactly. So no. And
There were some moves played. I think I saw c takes on d4. There's a bit delay. Let me refresh. Nope. No more moves are incoming.
we're waiting. Because the position looks like it was castled and everything. Or
Right.
not. Okay, maybe we just...
Yeah, we just switch a game. There's some delay
switch
on this
to
game. David Navarra against Arjun Arigaisi, two
both leaders, yes.
This is board number 2.
It shows that Arjun Arigaisi has no time, but of course it's not possible, so don't worry about that.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, here we have the position. It was updated. We have knight against bishop in the closed position. I guess the knight should be better here.
Who?
Knight.
The knight is normally better in these positions because the position is pretty closed. I'm sure that engines say that this is a dead draw. I know how usually they think.
Yeah, but okay, if you play, if you play f5, it's...
Yeah, f5 just locks things. That's it. I think this game is going to be a draw because, I mean, there's no way that Arjun can make a progress at the king side. And, of course, David could have played f takes on e5 a move before, but is he really the player who is playing for the win here? He decided that he's not.
No.
So simply king c6, a6, shake hands. Let's move on. I think.
Exactly. Let's move on to the game. Lek Wangliam against Yuan Gi, and there is always some excitement at his boards.
I'll just refresh for
What
the
is
sake of
this?
some clarity.
Yes.
No, because last year we did this mistake. We analyzed some position. It's already, long
Yes.
change. So what do we have here?
What do we have? We have pawn, which marched to h3 all the way. And, I mean, what is... As we discussed, actually, he didn't push his e6. He is using this e6 square for the knight to keep him pressure on the pawns,
Right.
d4 and f4.
Well, my first instinct is that white is better. I would like to say because usually space advantage gives the player who has it some upper hand, and that's what we are seeing here.
Yeah.
Knight takes on e6, f takes on e6. Yeah, that looks really strange, and chess.com board immediately says, no, this is not how you're supposed to play. I guess queen e6 was running into some f5 ideas, which looks unpleasant. And maybe something like g4 later, and perhaps this is
But
what
maybe there
he
was
didn't like.
some knight... Was there some knight e3 move?
Okay, doesn't matter. Let's move on.
Okay.
So g3
Because
declares...
knight e3 was really interesting with knight... Ah, no, sorry.
What?
Sorry, it's not working. Okay.
Knight e5,
Knight
this was a
e5.
mistake. So here, like Wang Liam blunders a pawn. So that's why it's a mistake,
Oh
right?
my God.
So after f takes on e6, why Yu Yunyi did this, he wanted to make sure that knight e5 threat happens, g3, knight e5, and knight c3. And again, we have the same question. Was this actually a blunder, or this was intentional? So
Yeah,
I'll just maybe show very quickly. Short castle, h takes, king g2 drops the queen.
Yeah.
This is what I saw very quickly. So the pawn on g3 is under attack. Maybe white should have played here b3, h takes and rook g1, trade the queens, take on g2, and have some pressure. But
Yeah.
again, everybody is smart and tangible. No, this was I think it was a sacrifice.
Yeah, because now we have e6 and e7 pawns which are doubled on the e file, and it's so much easier now to put the pressure on it when our pawn is gone. You know, sometimes our own piece can block the way to attack. So that's probably what he might have done.
I mean, this is really the highest level, right? So imagine yourself again. Just you are seeing how the best players in the world are playing. So imagine yourself, you're playing this with white. Average thinking is, I mean, black is threatening 95, I have to protect this pawn. Like Wang Liam is thinking, I see this threat, but I'm going to sacrifice it. And he's thinking that the long-term weaknesses for black, despite this double exclamation mark move, they're going to be his undoing. And now it's very easy to play for white, right? This is a weakness. There's some queen g6 threat. You can double the rooks, and yeah, I would choose white, actually.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to remove your own piece from the board to create some attack. And yeah, I mean, yeah, as you said, like, oh, 93.
There was a question in the chat, can you show the eval? I don't think we are going to do that for the rapid and the chess 960 and the blitz, because the situation changes so dramatically, but we will do it for the classical portion. So in the classical portion, which starts next Tuesday, you're going to see this small analysis bar. Now you see there's the current rankings just next to us, right? So you see that Arjun and Rigaisi and David Navarra right now have 2 points. This means the game is already finished in a draw.
Yeah.
But instead of this, in the classical games, there's going to be this live analysis board. So we'll be using this big board for analysis, and you can always watch what's happening live.
Yeah, exactly. But we are not looking at the moves. So if we have the evaluation bar, we will have it. But we're not looking at the moves. So, and we advise you not to look at the engine moves. We advise you to look at the position yourself first, and then if you cannot go further, you don't understand some moves, then you can check it out. Okay.
Yeah, but now look at this. I mean, situation is changing, and the white is still not even close to get to the pawn on e6.
The position is changing drastically, like just bishop e1.
I mean, the players are down the last 20 seconds, so this game could go either way. Really difficult to predict. The knight on a3 is weird. There you go, another pawn sacrifice. Can you take it? Bishop c5?
There can be some b4. b4 and knight hanging.
No, but how? How do you do it? I mean, rook c5, I just take it. Take, take, take. That's a check. Queen c6, it was not working apparently. I don't know why. We don't have time to analyze this. Let's just watch this. This is where you need to calculate very, very fast, very precise, because if things are miscalculated, also, for example, for white, the king is weak.
Exactly. But after rook c5, there was bishop b4, actually, I think.
Was there? I thought this is a check. That's not a check.
Yeah, it's not a check. That is a problem, yeah?
Yeah. It's simple bishop b4. Okay. Knight b5, so Union E brings the knight in the game. d4, that's a great move. This is a maiden one threat. Knight c3 is incoming. I think I saw some captures on d4. And now it's a bit laggy, unfortunately. I think I saw takes, takes, takes. And another move, some sort of a rook e8 or something. This is what's happening right now. There's a bit delay.
But yeah, players are playing on the last seconds. They're having some small increments, but they have to find the moves very, very quickly and try to be also safe with that. So we still have...
Let me refresh, maybe. Again, the problem is in the refresh. No, 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 no. Oh, that's quite unfortunate. Let's hope the relay is going to jump back, and it was a mate on the board. Oh my goodness.
God.
That is... I mean, we are seeing actually the queen on g2 is mate on the board. So is this the heaviest blunder?
Oh my God. Let's refer. He played queen s3. Oh my God.
Oh my goodness. This is.
Oh my God.
This is the heaviest blunder so far. I mean, it just brings the second round game of Amin Bassem against Diak, where he blundered a piece. But blundering a mate in one move, this was not really necessary. It also marks, I think, as one of our chat members says, the very first mate on the board. Very unfortunate. But I mean, come on, this was a time scramble and everything could happen, but still.
That's why, dear audience, whenever you're playing and blundering mate in one, understand that this happens also for the top players. So you never should stop believing yourself. Just keep on going. You see, the top players are blundering such things.
Wow.
I remember like recently also Livon Aronian, right, blundered this mate in one like 1 year ago or something. It was so like
I mean,
all the best.
There's a lot of examples, but
Yes.
let me check very quickly if we are not
Let's
missing
go,
some action here. This is a draw. There's one more game. Diak is playing against Jules Mussar. Second board was a draw. This is, what is this? Here, Jules Mussar is pressing for the win. This is very important for him because, as you might remember, in round 2, Jules was having an extra pawn against a ordinary guy. So in the night game, he lost it.
Yeah, pretty
So it
unfortunate.
happens. And it's very, very nice to see that he has recovered, right? He's not really, you know, thinking about it too much. Because chess is, I mean, incredible amount of psychology, like 30–40% of psychology. You play one bad game, you blunder it, and you can just ruin the entire tournament.
You just have to take one game at a time. That's what he's doing right now. Just because losing first 2 games, he's not getting desperate, but he's keep on going. Maybe briefly just check if there is a result on Vincent Keimer against Bastian
very quickly, I'll check it. No.
Okay, they're still playing.
No.
Oh my God! Also some.
That's a draw.
That's a draw.
That's a draw. I mean, Bassem against Vincent Keimer.
Draw?
Sorry, dear viewers,
Okay.
we didn't have a chance to follow it. It's a draw. There's action happening here. Apparently, White had the missed victory. Not White, what was it? I think Black had the missed victory. Rook d1, bishop e3. You can't promote the pawn. I guess bishop b3 and try to activate the king. You can't win this game without the king. What?
What
just
happened? Wait.
Oh, that was a rook trade.
But wait, isn't it just a draw?
That was strange.
How do you? I mean, you cannot win this.
I mean, I could put the king on d2,
Yeah.
relieve this bishop. I mean, and the king side holds. I think that this is what Jules just overestimated. There was no need for him to do this. And despite the fact that Black has about to have 2 very strong passed pawns, they're not going anywhere.
Exactly. They're simply not going anywhere. Maybe he tries to pin the king to the protection of the pawns and meanwhile bring the king to the queen side. But it's just taking such long time. Maybe he had first to bring the king and then trade the rooks. I mean, this looks...
I'm a bit also surprised by Diak that he didn't try to bring the king on d2 as quickly as possible. He played this g4, but this is probably also a draw. Wait, is it?
I'm not so sure.
d3
I mean,
here,
is there
here,
bishop,
d2.
bishop f3 right now?
Bishop f3, maybe you need to watch out for some sacrifices. King c4, d3, d2. I am not sure that Yak is flawless, but I mean, come on. Again, it's a time scramble. It's very easy to sit there on the commentator's booth and say, you should have done that, right? I mean,
yeah, bishop f3 is played. Now he's taking one of the pawns, I guess, or king f... Because king f5 is actually not possible. You cannot get your king...
What about king f4, bishop b1? And then the king is marching forward. I think you need to give away this pawn.
Yeah.
He's making it a bit more complex than it should have been. Bishop e2 is also a great move. King c4, h6. Are you in time? Are you in time, Bogdan? I don't think you are in time.
Oh my God.
Wait. G5? This looks like lost, to be honest. Bishop h5, that's it. G5, bishop h5, d3, d2, and Jules Mussard is going to win. Yeah, king h5, d3, that's it.
To do it, but
the body language says it all.
the body language has it.
He resigns.
He resigns. Oh,
He
my
resigns,
God.
and once again, the choice of Jules Mussard was rewarded, but let's just go back here for a moment. I mean, probably it's still a draw, right? You know, I'm not sure. But perhaps Jules correctly assessed that this position is still a draw, but he felt that this position gives him some chances. But to be honest, I mean, what I was looking here, why don't you bring the king to d2 immediately? Like, he played king g3, king f7, king f2, bishop here. Why don't you play here?
Why to play g4?
King e6, let's say, here. Okay, maybe it's not so simple. Yeah, maybe it's not so simple. The king is advancing here. My idea, I just want to show what I wanted to achieve. Where was this? Bishop b5. I wanted to achieve this kind of position somehow. I'm not sure how to do it, but I want to achieve a position where the dark swept bishop is holding together
The king side.
the king side, and the king is holding together the queen side. So this I know that normally this is a draw, but maybe there was something which was not working. And that's why here Diak decided that he's going to trade the pawns, and somehow it didn't work.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I don't know what happened, but here we have the round 3 with some surprising games, very like blundering checkmate and
So let's check the
everything.
results, right?
Let's check what we have right now. We have the results of the round 3. Yu Yanyi won, surprising checkmate blunder by Le Quang Liam. There was a peaceful result on the board 2 between 2 leaders. So Arjun Erigaisi and David Navarra had a draw. Jules Moussard won that very interesting game against Bogdan Daniel Deac. Like it was absolutely crazy endgame. And we have a draw, Vincent Keimer against Bassem Amin. We didn't manage to follow that game that much, but
Yeah, I think we if we are going to have some minutes, we're going to check it because I think there was a break after round 4. right?
Exactly.
After round 4, so it's 3 rounds played, and this is the current ranking. After round 3, you see Yu Yanyi is after this mate in one blunder by Le Quang Liam, he is catapulting himself to the lead of the tournament with 2.5 points out of 3. And you know, Angelica, I'm quite happy for Yu Yanyi because he was last year a substitute of Andrei Yesipenko in the Chess 960 tournament because if you remember last year's experience, Yesipenko was busy. Where did he play? He was playing in this Leon tournament, I
Yes,
think?
exactly, with Gelfand and
With Anand, Gelfand, and who was the 4th player? I don't remember. So Yu Yanyi was substituting him in the Chess 960 tournament. And you know what? He played badly. He finished, I think, 1 point out of 7 and in the last place. And that's why I'm so happy for the Chinese Grandmaster because right now he's showing, I mean, this was just an accident last year. I'm still a very strong Grandmaster. I can do this, right? And now he's leading the tournament.
But of course, he also was giving the Simon last year. He was also playing the MTO tournament, so he was probably also not expecting to play this, so he didn't have any time to prepare. So that also might have worked badly for his performance last year. But we can see that this year, so far, everything works pretty well. He only lost half a point, only played 1 draw, and otherwise he's doing very well. Afterwards, we have Arjun Erigaisi and David Navarra with 2 points. They had 2 draws and 1 win. We have Vincent Keimer with 1.5 points. He's at 50%. And we have all the other players with 1 point. Bassem Amin, Bogdan Daniel Diak, Le Quang Liam, Jules Moussard. So, yeah, we're going to see who is going
Yeah,
to...
maybe let's also check what's going to happen in round 4, right? Very
Yes.
quickly. So this was round number 3. Round number
Yes.
4. There you go.
So we are going to have Yu Yanyi facing Bassem Amin, Jules Moussard against Vincent Keimer, David Navarra against Bogdan Daniel Diak, and Le Quang Liam against Arjun Erigaisi.
Yeah, you see the round starts in 4 minutes, so I think that, Angelica, now we have a very, very quick time to review what happened in the Vincent Keimer game against Amin Bassem.
Yeah, let's do it.
And then I guess after round 4, we are going to make a break.
Yes, we are going to have a break as the players also will have short break because, yeah, I mean, Rapid is also quite making the players like using more
Tired.
energy, more tired. Yes, exactly.
Absolutely,
and
yeah, because
everyone
imagine,
needs a break.
imagine you have to go through all the set of emotions every single game, right? Opening experiment, you have to improvise, you have to predict everything, and then there's the time trouble. Time trouble number 1, 2, 3, 4. Are you getting really tired? It's not like a one classical game where you sit for like 5-6 hours. It's a different pace.
Absolutely. So let's just check out what happened in the Game Vincent against Bassem. We didn't have so much time to check, but
Yeah, we checked about here.
yeah.
About here, I think this is where we left it. We're wondering where's the compensation for black. I said there's no compensation. You agreed. And okay, look at that. So Amin Bassem actually at some point was up 2 pawns and queens traded.
Yeah, and also some issues with the bishop on g8. So that's also kind of a problem.
Oh, look at this. This is amazing because there's no escape from the check.
Oh my God.
There's no escape from the check because king e7, king f8 would be bishop c5 check.
And winning a piece.
Yeah, so that's why he played rook d7. Now it's already material balance. I mean, 2 pawns for the exchange. It's about material balance.
But you know, the point is this position is pretty close. There are only semi-open files. Okay, now there is an open file, of course. Just wanted to say that there is not so much room to play with the rooks, but actually there is.
No, it just felt that Vincent was winning this.
Yes, now it feels
It's
like
just
that.
an extra exchange, so something went wrong for Vincent. Black got some counterplay. You know, without engines, of course, it's difficult to understand what went wrong for white. And suddenly black organized his pawns, and this is what happened here.
Yeah, black just managed to organize 2 passers, and white had to give up the rook for it. And
Right.
okay, so it was not so peaceful draw after all. So yeah, we're going to see the players in just a few moments. Players are getting ready for their next positions. Just imagine how they're sitting at the board and trying to realize what they're going to play, what is going to be the plan in that starting position with all the pieces randomly put at the board.
I'm not really sure, Angelica, which game to start. I think it makes sense to start with the leader,
Yu Yang
Yu Yanyi, because he's the one who has right now 2.5 out of 3, and we actually caught the start of the game. And he plays, I don't know what he plays because I have to refresh the board. There you go.
He plays c4, and actually it's a very interesting position where both of the bishops are located in the one side and the corner, and it's pretty easy to play this position. The first 2 moves are very easy, and both players are playing at c4, c5, b3, b6.
Actually, I think I've seen this before. I mean, usually when you have the bishops on the edge of the board, you want to play c4, b3 as quickly as possible. h4.
So he's trying to really take a use out of that pawns. I mean, of course, h5 is
I
possible.
just love the body language, you know. I mean, you just plays h4. And I mean, he goes into tank, right? Such a powerful move. But it makes sense, right? You have beautiful bishops here.
Yeah.
And you want to play h5, h6 and get some targets.
Exactly.
So
we're
looks
just, we're just seeing what he might reply. There is h5, or he can just wait for pawn to get to h5 and play h6. There are many moves, and since position is not so familiar for players, they have to think here, and we see that Bassem is not anymore in the tank, but
yeah.
he's
Okay, now he has gotten away from the shock, so he's thinking, should I play h5, should I play h6? I think that it's pretty clear that he's going to stop this pawn, because if he allows the h pawn go forward, then he definitely has some issues with this long diagonal. But, you know, I think that it's always more than that. He's not just thinking about, you know, I'm going to play h5 and then see what happens. He's thinking about a concept. Okay,
Exactly.
if I play h5, then what I'm going to do? So if I don't play h5, let's say what move I'm going to play first, then after h5, h6, how do I bring the queen in the game? Because, for example, let me just make some random moves here. How do you bring the queen in the game? Because if you now play f6, it weakens the g6 square. Then you're thinking, okay, he has some knight f3, knight h4, knight g6 ideas. And if you're thinking that I'm fantasizing here, I can guarantee you they're thinking exactly like this. They're thinking in terms of how the game approximately, you know, might go forward. So I think that Amin is going to decide either to play h5 or, you know, go according to some of the best canons of chess. if your opponent is attacking you at the king side, what you should do? Counter strike in the center.
Because I think like if black is going to go for h5, there will be a weakness on g5 square, so there will be easily knight f3, knight g5 moves. So it's not so easy for black to find the how to stop this pawn. Yeah, because g5 square might be very weak after h5. What I was thinking, is it possible to play h6 and then on h5 to play g5, or it's too crazy? Oh, okay, there is a rook hanging. Okay, that was too crazy. Let's forget about it.
Knight f6, third move, question mark. There you go. How is this a mistake, right?
I think that it should be together with the concept of pawn pushing.
Can I do this? h5, now h6 is an annoyance. h6, and I really want to make a rook left.
Yeah.
The question is where? Rook h3 or rook h4? Somehow, maybe g4, g5 could be an idea.
Yeah, for sure. It's h5 or g4. I mean, both moves looks pretty aggressive. Maybe g4 also here is possible. h5 was played, okay.
Yeah, h5 is played, so I think that Amin is not going to allow white to play h6 because then he's going to have some issues with this long diagonal. I could be wrong. I mean, maybe he has different ideas. Maybe he's just going to ignore it and let's say play something like e5 and say, okay, listen, you have your h6, but you're essentially wasting a lot of tempi to make this happen.
Exactly, and then to play something like knight e6 maybe, you know,
Yeah.
trying to castle with the king, and that's how the queen is going to escape through the f8 or e8 square.
How about I even ignore the pawn on h6? I just play knight e6.
Yeah, knight
immediately.
e6, that's what I'm
Yeah?
saying. Knight e6 and, yeah.
I mean, look at my development with black. I mean, you have played your h4, h5, h6. You have made your point, but now what? And I think he's going to do it. He wants to play e5. e5 makes sense because, again, it's resembling to the Marazzi bind. Or I don't think he's going to play knight e6 because normally you want to push the pawns in front
Yeah.
and then put pieces behind. So
Exactly.
He's just checking. He's just checking things. What's happening? Because after e5, there might be even some f4 ideas, like e5, f4. So you want to be ready after this. Let's say take it, and bishop f6, take it, and I don't know what is this. No, probably this is nothing.
This is interesting, but
You know, it's very easy for us because we're commentators. we can advise, we can recommend all kinds of combinations, but it's the players who have
who
to make the
decide?
choices.
Yes, exactly. The players decide what exactly to do, and yeah, but e5 looks very, very logical, but he has to anticipate all kind of moves afterwards. What is white going to do? f4 is very logical break, so
I think he's having second thoughts. So he really wanted to play e5. He noticed something that he did not like. I don't know what it is. Maybe he saw some, maybe e5. Wait, but after h6 we already agreed we're not going to play g6. Actually,
No.
is this some sort of a super Marazzi bind?
g5, e5, c5.
I mean, g5, e5, here, b6, knight e6.
And this is some kind of also, in a way, stone wall, but in the opposite color.
I have no idea what this is. All right, but he
Yeah.
already made up his mind. He did play only knight c6. I guess he wants to kill the bishop with the bishop e5. So after h6, pretty sure that either he
this?
plays bishop e5 or g5 and the bishop e5.
Or castle.
Or castle.
Just castle.
Here. Oh my goodness, that's actually
Just a
move.
castle.
Wow. This would actually make it one of the longest castles today.
Yeah.
So prior to the tournament, we had a discussion with Angelica. What could be the longest castle in Chess 960 game? So we figured out the white king and the black king has to be on b1. So then you would castle to g1. It's a legal move, actually.
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
hope we are going to see it. Imagine yourself, your king is standing on b1, and your opponent is, building this very strong attack,
Yeah.
and you just castle that way.
You're just tricked your opponent. Okay, you actually have the ideas on the board which were discussed. So now e5 was played, and knight d4, very logical. Trying to block the bishops, block the ideas from the white. Absolutely logical play by, Bassam.
Probably, yeah. Actually, I don't know if you noticed this, Angelica, but in the first 3, 4 rounds, since this is the fourth round, I've seen this maneuver quite a lot. I mean, this early knight jump to the fourth rank, I would have to show you the games. I can't do that immediately because I would have to go back, I would have to search. But I've seen this maneuver very, very early. And I can only guess what's the idea. After 93, maybe White is thinking about some early 95 ideas. You know, 95 or 95. And that's why Amin Bassem plays 94 immediately. White plays 95. Oh, it's protected. Oh my goodness.
Knight 5, trying to create something there on the king side still. So Yu Yang is saying, I have a clear plan. I want to do something over there on the king side. And then maybe at some moment, Amin Bassem will say, okay, I'm castling and bringing the king to the safety. So it's...
Actually, castling would drop the queen.
Ah, you're castling right now. Oh my
You
God.
can't do that. Actually, not very obvious, yeah, because now
Yes.
suddenly this square is protected and then it's not.
Yeah, it's normally not like that. It's like knight
Okay,
e4.
what is
Oh
this?
my God, these knights are just super knights there in the center.
I mean, the players are really in the artistic mood here, Angelica, because now black just centralizes those knights, but actually knight e4 comes with the threat, because knight e4, I just want to take this knight, because now it has no support from the bishop on b1.
Actually, I think there are two threats also to take knight on f3 and pawn on d2, so there are double threats.
Okay.
But actually, maybe knight is trapped then. Okay, the first threat, of course, is the knight hanging on f5. That's the first threat.
Huh.
Don't
I
know.
guess do I want to give away this bishop? I'm not sure.
Maybe you have to.
I'm not sure I have to, but maybe
Maybe I want to.
maybe I want to. I don't know. I mean, takes, and what do I do with this knight? Because if I enter this position, then I'm not happy.
No,
Totally
of course not.
Look at this poor bishop here. Black enjoys some space advantage. Maybe not like this. But then again, if I take on e4 and if I don't want to take on d4, I mean, what do I do?
There is no e3. There is no. I mean, d3. Is it possible?
No.
No.
So we just don't take it. But if we don't take it, what do we do? Because the knight is under attack. g4? No, come on. Takes?
No, but it's just
Takes?
knight.
It's too
d3.
much, yeah?
It's knight. I mean, bishop f3. No, probably knight f3, knight f3. And there is
No,
even
I'm just now playing like one VM because,
Yes.
you know, first give away the pawns and then try to find some justification why I gave them up.
maybe even some e4 is possible here. Bishop g7, queen g7, some craziness.
But the queen on g8 is not playing. Do you see that? That's what
Yeah.
the point is. I'm trying to make a point that your queen on g8 is not playing, and I'm going to simply give away the two pawns and then claim that because of your queen on g8, I have something, but let's not forget black can always castle along.
Exactly.
So, I don't know.
Okay.
Wow. All right. All right. We had our fun.
Let's come back to reality.
Let's come back to reality. Bishop d4, e takes on d4 is on the board.
And don't like this. Power for white.
Maybe it's fine. Maybe he wants to play g4 next.
Bishop f4 or something like this.
It's just a pawn. I don't know. But now black has some difficulties to get rid of this knight. Because after g6, this is where your king is. Maybe g6 and insert your imagination here. Actually, yeah, g6 just looks good, to be honest. Because I want to play queen h2 at some point, but then I noticed that this bishop is hanging. Okay,
Yeah.
let's just move on. You know, I don't understand this position. There you go. Oh my goodness, rook h4, rook e8. Let's just get away from this.
Yes, let's go to the next board. We have here Jules Moussard playing against Vincent Keimer. They're just playing with pawns. Wait,
No,
let's
wait.
refresh.
Let's refresh. This is not right.
But I think, yeah, oh, okay. So they're not only playing with pawns, but also with the knights. They are also at the starting position. They're investing quite some time. They started c4, c5, b3, b6 as the other game was starting, so it's very logical. And here, actually,
So Vincent plays some sort of a classical Dutch because he has good bishops here.
yes.
Now he uses these pawns to fight for the center. That makes sense. Oh, g4, challenge accepted by Jules Massard. He says, okay, let's do this. And actually, you know, g4 is a very common idea in the Dutch, especially in the Dutch Leningrad. When you develop your Dachshund bishop, I'm talking about normal Dutch Leningrad position, and then g4 sometimes is a sacrifice. But here it's not
Exactly.
even a sacrifice because the queen is standing on g1.
Yeah, I mean, this is not even a, that is not even sacrifice, actually. Okay, 4, h4. Okay, but 2 against 2, normally it's, there should be no attack, but the bishops are very dangerous.
Visually, I like white.
Yeah,
This-
visually, but there are also so much pressure on the h1, a8 diagonal, so anything can happen.
No, I choose white. I mean, I think I'm going to play something like rook h3 if I feel
Pressure.
pressure. Yeah, rook h3, by the way, sometimes the rook can do something at the third rank. But very common, and I'm pretty sure that Jules is thinking about this, very common idea in these positions is d5. Because d5 is a typical move in all kinds of
Unclear.
no, I mean in all kinds of Nimzos, Queens Indians, also Granfeld. You try to kill the bishop here on a8,
Yeah.
but it involves a pawn sacrifice, like takes, takes, and after knight b4, you give away this pawn on d5 to gain time. I'm pretty sure that Jules is not thinking that. Okay, he played rook h3.
He's playing rook h3 right now. Yes, he's just removing the rook from the little bit uncomfortable.
Chesscom said you should have
Yeah.
played Jules d5. I mean, come on. So once again, d5 takes, takes, knight b4, and I try to come up with some sort of super continuation, something like. Maybe there's nothing. I just want to
don't-
sacrifice this pawn. That's the point. Maybe h5. You know,
h5, but even on h6 there
there's
might
knight
be.
h4 ideas, knight e5 ideas. That was the point, right? I mean, this idea, this maneuver d4 d5 is common. I'm a bit surprised he didn't play this, but you know, maybe Jules is a bit pragmatic. You know, he decided I can do it maybe later, but no, I mean, black just takes on d4.
But there are also possible like knight f6 and long castle at any moment. Maybe there was just simply nothing.
Maybe,
We don't know.
maybe.
The players, let's trust the players. But maybe it was, of course, for sure, it was very interesting pawn sacrifice.
No, I mean this. Maybe I didn't explain it very clearly. D4, D5. Why this is played in these openings, which I already said, the Queen's Indian defense, the Nimzo Indian. You kill the bishop on b7. Normally it stands, right? And when your opponent spends several tempi to take it, you gain a center or something. So the concept is definitely there. But again, would I play it
Yes.
myself?
Would you risk it? Yeah,
that's
that's
a
the
good
question. Okay, so let's go on. Okay, bishop takes d4. So the trade happened. The both bishops from both sides are kind of opened. Only the dark square bishop is looking at a 4 square. There is always h5, h6 in the air. Vincent has to be really careful and sure that it works. There is e5 actually. Trying to close the bishop, but then it closes the bishop as well.
Yeah, but I think that, yeah, e5, I like it, Angelica, but I think that Vincent decided that he can play e5 maybe later. So
Maybe,
he
yeah.
just brings the queen in the game. So e5, d5, maybe at some point he can play it. I think he's about to castle short. Some sort of a short castle is incoming next. I don't think he's so adventurous on going for the long way, but I guess we are going to see. Let's continue checking. out the
Yes,
game, okay?
let's check what is happening on board number 3, where David Navarre is facing Bogdan Daniel Deak, and we have here another Stonewall.
Yeah, they really like the Stonewall, don't they? Okay. So the position, we're not going to go back, but the position seems to have normalized. Again, one of the common ideas of the Stonewall is, we discussed this, one of the previous rounds, you want to take away the space from the opponent, take away the counterplay. There's a drawback for black, that's the e5 square. But I don't think here in this position white is equipped to exploit it. And also one of the key ideas of the stone wall is to make a break in the center, which just happened by
Yeah,
David.
exactly. So David just managed to play f3, e5, e4, the pawn push, trying to break in the center, trying maybe to push the pawn forward in case black allows it. Let's see what Diak is going to do here. I mean, fe doesn't look good. I mean, because then there is a f file opening.
Not
Don't
only
lie.
f file, I think there's a major problem
Yeah.
on h7, yeah? So
Doesn't
you want to
look
keep
so
the pawn on
good.
f5.
So now he's trying to hook the pawn on h2.
Right.
A little bit. But e5
I mean, e5?
is in.
Okay, I mean, the big question is, do you want to close the position?
The problem is we have two bishops with white. So normally we don't want to close the position. But the question is if we want to close the bishop, and he says, okay, we want to close the bishop.
David says, I want to close the position. But you know, I think it definitely makes sense to investigate what about I open the position? What about I think about ideas to open the position? Maybe do I protect this pawn? Don't I protect this pawn? But I think that David simply adjusted to the situation and he recognizes that he has space advantage, which is perhaps slightly more important than the bishop pair. So the future moves he might have here is something like g4, try to open this diagonal, and this knight on c3 might go to e2, f4, or maybe even g3.
Exactly. Even like heavy is going